Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me, Weep here, and if you don't know who I am, I'm a anime YouTuber who makes a lot of these what-if style stories, which you might have heard of, you might have not. But this is a full story, meaning it's a compilation of all of the what-ifs for this series that I've done over the years. I hope you guys enjoyed. This covers all the way from the beginning of Part 1 Naruto to the end of Shippuden. If you guys want more and you want to see, make sure to go over to my channel. You can check out all the other full story what-ifs in the top upper right-hand corner. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the video. Thank you so much, and let's get started with what if Naruto was an alchemist.
So this what if is what if Naruto could use alchemy from the world of FullMetalAlchemist, and the way this is gonna work is we're gonna say that it's a ability that he specially learns from stuff. You'll see. You'll see. Anyway, let's hop right into it. So Naruto, when he's a kid, after his parents, of course, are dead, he still has the nine-tailed fox and everything is normal. Up until the point where he steals the scroll of sealing, and he still fails the test to become a genin. Mizuki tells him to steal the scroll of sealing for him, and he does it. This time, however, Naruto ignores the Shadow Clone Jutsu and goes even further into the scroll. When he goes into it, he sees that there's a paper that's kind of smeared, and he looks into it and can see parts of it are completely watered down and broken off. But he can see on the top, and there's some circle things that have shapes in it, called a transmutation circle. And he sees that this is a type of chakra use, very similar to how the Lady Tsunade uses her chakra to make herself stronger. This is a very special use only created by the second Hokage to bend elements using chakra, and bend anything, and rearrange and disassemble elements. So Naruto thinks this is super cool and begins to learn the basics of alchemy. In this timeline, Mizuki is a little bit later to the forest where he's supposed to meet Naruto. Naruto has pretty much, understand the basic concepts of transmutation circles and the concepts of alchemy. And he just finished trying his first transmutation circle with some, chalk that he had on him in his ninja tool belt. And he created a small one and it could bend the earth a little bit. So, when Mizuki comes to try and take the scroll sealing from Naruto, Naruto uses his chakra reserve to push his alchemy skills and Iruka, and he beats and bullies Mizuki just like in the original timeline. This time, however, he uses alchemy to beat him instead of using a shadow clone. After this, display of skill, Iruka is super impressed with Naruto, and he decides that he's earned the title of genin. The next day, when all the genin teams are being assigned, Naruto is assigned to the same team with Sasuke and Sakura. When this is happening, they're waiting for their sensei Kakashi to come, and when he finally arrives through the door, Naruto doesn't pull a prank because he's practicing on ways he can think of using alchemy. He can think about rearranging kunai, making them melt in midair and throwing them. And he's coming up with some very unique ways, just like Naruto does with all his techniques. While Kakashi's hearing Naruto muttering about something, he goes and tells the team about what they're going to do. So all three of them head up to the roof of Kakashi, and Kakashi asks them about their likes, dislikes, and their dreams. Sasuke talks about killing a certain someone, and how he doesn't really have any likes or dislikes, but he has that ambition. Sakura says something stupid about loving Sasuke and trying to get him to love her and stuff. And then Naruto comes and says that he wants to master jutsu and become the next Hokage. Naruto says he wants to become Hokage. And Kakashi finds this funny because he's kind of like Obito. And continuing from there, he tells them not to eat breakfast the next morning and to meet him at the training grounds where the bell test would be taken. The next day, all three of them show up, and Naruto had been practicing his alchemy all the day of yesterday. Naruto is surprisingly a fast learner at this, especially because with the chakra gains that he has and how much of a chakra pool he has, it's really easy for him to do alchemy. It doesn't take as much energy out of him as it would any normal person. When Naruto shows up, Sasuke and Sakura are already waiting for Kakashi, and Kakashi comes late and says that he was wandering on the path of life. He explains to them how the bell test will work, and how that they have to get the 2 bells in order to pass. When they hear this, they're worried that if only 2 bells can pass, that means someone won't be able to pass the exam and will have to go back to the academy. So all of them put all of their effort into it. Sasuke and Sakura dive into the forest, and Naruto immediately clasps his hands together, just like how they do in FullMetalAlchemist Brotherhood. When Kakashi sees this, he doesn't know what he's doing because he actually doesn't know what alchemy is or how to use it. Naruto presses his hands to the ground and begins and starts bending it. It turns out that he has mastered doing basic alchemy, and on his gloves he has gloves on now with the transmutation circles to bend earth and rearrange it, just like an alchemist can. But it's nowhere near to the degree of Edward Elric from the actual show. So he uses this and tries to throw a stone at Kakashi, which he wasn't expecting. Then he goes and starts to fight Kakashi and punching at him. When he starts doing this, Kakashi is kind of impressed. But then Naruto tries to disassemble something, and when he's about to reassemble it, Kakashi punches him in the face and he knocks him back. Kakashi's still reading his book at this point, and Naruto's still scrambling for the bells. When Kakashi finally puts the book down, which he doesn't have to do until Naruto starts literally jumping at him and going full on crazy, he finally decides to set some traps and get this over with because he's not very impressed with their teamwork. He sets a trap to the bell for Naruto, which easily catches Naruto because he's not that smart, and the rest of the team aren't working together. So when Sasuke tries to use his fireball jutsu, Kakashi's impressed with this because of how much chakra it takes to create one, but he's not really excited since the team wasn't working together. Sakura is put under Genjutsu just like in the original timeline, and Naruto's tied to the plate. When Kakashi tells them not to feed Naruto anything, they don't at first, but then Sakura and Sasuke give in and try to feed Naruto. Kakashi comes running out of the woods and says that people who break the rules are scum, but people who betray their friends are worse than scum. And they say that they pass the bell test, not even because they didn't do teamwork, but they showed it when they helped Naruto. So he tells them to meet up the next day for doing the D-rank missions, which would show up then. Naruto continues practicing his alchemy when he stumbles upon something. He realizes that if he uses a transmutation circle to disassemble and reassemble things, he can just disassemble something and not reassemble it, which would theoretically turn it to dust. So Naruto is excited and begins practicing this on their D-rank missions. So this is Naruto's first real alchemy skill that he can use without having to draw a transmutation circle, which is incredible to him. Naruto unlocked the ability and learned alchemy, the basics of alchemy, using transmutation circles from the Scroll of Sealing. He also learned how he can deconstruct things and then not reconstruct them without needing to use, without drawing a new transmutation circle every time. So now he's wearing gloves with transmutation circles on them that he can use to deconstruct things, just like Scar does in FullMetalAlchemist Brotherhood. This way is what he learned in the last episode, and now he's itching for a fight and to test out his new abilities. This time, Naruto and the others have just completed their last D-rank mission where they caught a cat, and Naruto feels itching for a fight. He hasn't done anything useful in so long since the bell test, and he hasn't had to fight anything for a long time. When they go to meet the third Hokage for the next mission, Naruto complains that they haven't had a hard enough mission in a while, and that they need something more difficult. The third Hokage smiles and decides to amuse Naruto, and because Kakashi and Sasuke are there, he thinks that it's okay to give them a little harder of a mission. So he decides to give them a C-rank mission, which is Tsunade the Bridge Builder guard him and bring him back to the Land of Waves. So Tsunade comes in and he sees Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura and Kakashi, and he makes fun of Naruto for being short, and this pisses kind of Naruto off, just like how Edward from FullMetalAlchemist gets pissed off when he's called short, just as a throwaway gag. And then Tsunade says that if these guys can really protect him, the third Hokage says it should be fine, and they decide to head out of the Leaf Village. As Team 7 walks alongside Tsunade out of the Leaf Village, and they're walking along the path, there's a puddle on the ground that Kakashi notices. A few minutes later, suddenly, Kakashi's stabbed by kunai, and it appears that he's dead. Naruto and Sasuke immediately leap into action. Naruto, being much more confident in his abilities this time around, isn't scared, and he clasps his hands onto the ground and instantly turns the surrounding area to dust, creating a hole so that way they have cover. Sasuke jumps out of it and then uses his shuriken to throw at them. Naruto covers Sasuke and then draws quick transmutation circle to push Earth up in front to protect Sasuke. Sasuke jumps off of the wall of Earth and then pushes right into the first demon brother. Then Naruto throws a kunai at the second demon brother, which he blocks. Sakura is protecting Tazuna right now. Naruto and Sasuke both run towards the last brother. The brother tries to defend himself, but with both of them wailing on them with punches and kicks, he falls to the ground. Naruto and Sasuke look at each other for a second, and Sasuke has a small smile, which is the first time Naruto ever sees Sasuke smile at him, and it makes him happy. So after everyone gets back up, Naruto fixes all the holes in the road that he made using his alchemy, and Kakashi appears back, showing that he used the substitution jutsu. And he said that it was cool. He saw what Sasuke and Naruto did and said that was some really good teamwork there. So that was a good job. Naruto doesn't make his oath this time around, unfortunately, because he wasn't scared, and he doesn't make that vow to never be afraid again. This time, however, he knows that as long as he can master alchemy and his skills that he's learning, that he'll become the greatest ninja ever. Naruto continues walking along with Sasuke, Tazuna, Kakashi, and Sakura. Kakashi asked Tazuna what that was all about, since it was supposed to be a C-rank mission, and having Chunin level ninja go after Tazuna seems like no mere coincidence. Now what they were wondering is if he was going after the bridge builder, or the demon brothers were going after the bridge builder, or after the leaf ninja. Tazuna eventually confesses that what happened and how he didn't have enough money to pay for a higher advanced group of ninja in order to help guard him so that he could get back and help build the bridge to his people. When he explains to Kakashi what Gato did, after a while, Kakashi understands and says that they'll still go through with the mission anyway. They keep walking until eventually they finally make it over and they get across. What happens, unfortunately, is a sword comes flying across the top of them, and Kakashi says duck. Everyone dives to the ground and the sword slashes right into the tree. Suddenly, a man appears on top of the tree. He turns to his left, and you can see he has a mask on and a headband on top, and he says that his name is Zabuza. Then, that means Kakashi understands who this is. He says, "Oh my god, it's Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist, seven swordsmen." And that's the executioner blade. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura are scared of what's happening. Kakashi immediately gets into a fighting position and says that the others should should guard Tazuna. They jump into the fight. Kakashi slashes with a kunai at Zabuza's face, which he easily swipes out with his sword and blocks. They exchange hand-to-hand blows, Zabuza using his sword to counter Kakashi and slash at him from long-range distances, while Kakashi uses kicks and acrobatics to try and move down and under Zabuza. The fight's just as impressive as the original for the first part, and when they're fighting, it gets pretty intense. Kakashi gets a few hits and Zabuza gets a few hits. Unfortunately, they get close to the water by the lake, and Zabuza and them are fighting on top of it now. This is perfect for Zabuza, as he can use his jutsu, and he pushes Kakashi into his water prison jutsu. Sasuke and Naruto decide that they need to help, so what they do is they come up with a plan. Naruto says that he can use his alchemy to make a bridge over and to disconnect them from the water. Sasuke says that if they do it together, they might be able to come up with something. So eventually they decide that if Naruto can get behind, he can use alchemy and deconstruct the water that Kakashi's in. Which Sasuke doesn't know how he does that, but Naruto decides. So the same thing happens in the original, where Sasuke throws the Demon Wind Shuriken and the Shadow Shuriken behind it. Zabuza couldn't see the second one in the shadow of the first, and it gets behind him. And just as it gets behind him, Naruto transforms and then pushes his hand towards the water. Zabuza has no idea what he's doing, but as soon as he touches the water, the electric light blasts off his hand and it surrounds the water, instantly turning all the water into dust, or water vapor particles. Kakashi easily stands up and says thanks to Naruto, and then he pulls up his headband and reveals his Sharingan. Naruto falls into the water at this point since he doesn't know how to use that, and he starts swimming back to the shore. Kakashi immediately begins fighting with Zabuza, giving him no time to attack Naruto or the others. Kakashi, at that point, pulls out his Sharingan and he begins copying all of his moves. He uses the Water Dragon Jutsu and mirrors him to the exact, to the point where he hits him with it and goes faster than him at predicting himself. When Zabuza is about to get killed, Haku, as we know as Haku, throws Senbon into his neck and kills him. The others have no idea what's going on, but it seems that he's dead, so they let him go. Immediately, Kakashi passes out, and Naruto and Sasuke, Sakura, and Tsunade take him back to his house. When they take him back to Tsunade's house, Kakashi's resting, and the others begin to decide what they should do. Sasuke decides that he should be training and working on his skills because the last fight with Zabuza, they couldn't do anything. Sakura agrees that she should train with Sasuke too, and then Naruto decides that he needs to work on his alchemy. So he begins training with his alchemist skills. He goes out to the woods and begins deconstructing things with both hands, and then reconstructing them as fast as he can with his other hand. He's trying to figure out a way to do something to where he can almost teleport something by throwing it and then deconstructing and reconstructing it. It doesn't really work out for him, but he continues to practice it. It's almost like a reverse form of flying Raijin. Instead of the person being able to move with their object, he can throw the object and teleport it to somewhere else, almost. He then continues to practice this for the next 3 days, and he thinks that he's developed an interesting little kind of technique. Then, eventually, Kakashi wakes up and tells them about the tree climbing exercises, and they begin practicing. And they both decide that Zabuza is still alive because that Senbon might have just temporarily killed him. So, they begin training for the next fight with Zabuza. Last time, in the last part, they had killed Zabuza, which Haku had done himself, which then Haku had regenerated him, and they waited for Kakashi to wake up. In the 3 days that they'd been waiting for Kakashi to awake from his rest, Naruto had discovered that had been working on a way to deform things in midair with his without transmutation circles, and then reform them. However, he can't quite do it without using his gloves, as there's just something that's missing for him. A sort of lie, almost. But I digress. Kakashi eventually wakes up and explains what they need to do, how they're going to do the tree climbing exercise. Naruto, whose chakra control is absolutely terrible in this timeline, as he relies very heavily on alchemy in order to get around and do ninja things, decides to give it a try, however. When Naruto places his foot on it and it pushes his chakra into it, the tree just dissolves into dust, and he just quickly reforms it like nothing happened, whistling. He asks Sakura how she does it, and she explains it to him. He trains all day working on his chakra placement and his footing, the same as Sasuke. Sasuke goes back to the house, and Naruto passes out outside in the woods. When he wakes up, a boy/girl Haku is there, waiting to talk to him. When he awakens and sees him, he talks to him about what his goal is when he's a ninja, and he explains how having the goal to protect someone makes you so much stronger. Eventually, Haku leaves and says goodbye to Naruto, and Naruto takes that to heart when he walks back to the house. When they leave to go finish the bridge and help Tsunade end its construction and everything, a mist begins to envelop the bridge and all three of Team 7, as well as Kakashi. Kakashi knows that it's Zabuza, and immediately turns on his Sharingan and activates it. This time, however, he can see the chakra signature of not just Zabuza, but also another person. This boy is Haku. Haku grabs Sasuke and begins to immediately get into a fight with him. Eventually, he casts the hand sights for the Demon Ice Mirror Jutsu and pulls Sasuke into it. Naruto, using his alchemy, tells him that he's not going to get away with that, and he pushes his hand up and says that he's going to protect Sasuke no matter what. When he gets in there, Sasuke's already getting attacked, and Sasuke's bleeding from all of the attacks that Haku had thrown at him. Naruto says he's not going to stand for that and begins to use alchemy to deconstruct stone and then reconstruct it as he throws it at Haku, trying to shatter the mirrors. It doesn't work. Haku, blasting from light speed mirror to mirror, keeps cutting Sasuke and Naruto. Naruto screams for him to stop, and then, eventually, Haku throws the Senbon. As he throws them at Naruto, Sasuke jumps in the way and takes the full blow. Naruto, eyes wide and horrified, watches as Sasuke falls to the ground and blood pools out of him. As Sasuke's eyes fade, Naruto falls to the ground shaking. he looks up to Haku and says that he won't let this happen. He's not going to let his friend die. He clasps his hands together and pushes them onto Sasuke's body. And he says no matter what, he will save his friend and he won't let him die. And this is when he uses alchemy and begins to try and save Sasuke from dying. When this happens, he awakens into a room, a white void, devolved of everything. And then he hears someone. Hello, Naruto. Naruto looks around and is confused, and then he sees a great giant metal door, a humongous iron door the size of a building. When he turns, he sees the names Kushina and Minato and other words and names he doesn't know. And he turns around and sees someone smiling. The person smiling looks at him and says that, what's he doing here? And says, Naruto, what are you doing here? And Naruto tells him that he needs to save his friend Sasuke no matter what. When he does this, the boy smiles and says, for anything? And Naruto nods his head, anything. Immediately, Naruto is absorbed into the truth, and he sees the truth, just as Edward does in FullMetalAlchemist Brotherhood. He screams as his mind is filled with the knowledge, the terrible knowledge of the truth, and Naruto's left arm is completely destroyed. It's the left forearm, all the way up to his elbow, is completely taken from him, and it's ripped off. When Naruto wakes back into the real world, he has Kyuubi chakra exploding around him, and Sasuke is down. But all of Sasuke's injuries are healed, and he's lying there and breathing. Naruto gets up, and he uses the chakra of the Kyuubi to make a hand fold around so he stops the bleeding on his arm and heal it. He then clasps his real hand with the Kyuubi chakra hand together, and he doesn't need transmutation circles anymore. His intelligence has skyrocketed. He looks up towards Haku and says, you know what you've done? You almost killed him. You killed my friend. He puts his hands on the ground, and immediately he touches the mirrors, and they shatter. He then adjusts it and uses his, without transmutation circles, completely can rise the earth and chucks the ground at Haku, just like Edward can do. And immediately, Haku is destroyed. He's completely bullied by Naruto. Naruto punches him with the rock over and over again until he's so bloody and beaten his bones are cracking. The Kyuubi chakra only enhancing Naruto's alchemy skills, until eventually Naruto himself comes with a mighty haymaker with his right arm and smashes it with everything he has and completely deconstructs all of Haku's left shoulder. Blood explodes out of Naruto's left side as he gasps as all of his bones, everything turned to atoms, reduced to dust. As he's pushed back and is bleeding out, his last act as he jumps in front of the way of Kakashi about to stab Zabuza. As he saves Zabuza from being stabbed by the Raikiri, immediately Zabuza sees what happened and Haku dies instantly, the light leaving his eyes. Naruto, falling out of Kyuubi mode, begins to bleed out of his arm again, gasping. Immediately, Sasuke begins to wake up and sees what happened to Naruto's arm. It's completely ripped off by the elbow down. He takes off his shirt and begins wrapping it around Naruto's arm so he doesn't bleed. He screams out to Zabuza that he didn't mean to kill him, and Naruto starts crying, and he cries and cries. Zabuza, humanized by Naruto's tears, sees Gato's gang coming, and immediately, in all of his rage, and what's left of Zabuza, pulls his executioner's blade and any swords he has, and rushes at them, slicing, dicing, ripping arms, legs, head, tooth, nail, just killing all of them, until eventually all of Gato's men die. He looks at Gato, spits out the kunai in his mouth, and says, "You're next, bud." He then throws the executioner blade and it slices through him as he falls into the water and Gato dies. Zabuza, falling back onto himself, leans and falls next to Haku as he stares into Haku's eyes and says that Haku was a terrific shinobi and more importantly a great friend. Naruto still crying, Sasuke is holding him by the shoulder and telling him to stop. Sakura is crying and protecting by Tazuna, and then Zabuza dies along with Haku. They would not meet in the afterlife, as Haku would go to a better place. Snow falls onto the land of waves, as Kakashi looks down and says that this is the fate of all shinobi. Last time, for those of you who came for the emotional scene in part 3, Naruto sacrificed his left hand all the way up to the elbow, and is currently bleeding out, to completely bring Sasuke back to life and heal all of his injuries, and also destroy Haku. When he did this, it basically unlocked all transmutation circles once he learned the truth, as well as unlocking Kurama's chakra. Once he did this, he completely bodied Haku. Just smashed his mask in half and killed him. It was nasty. It was pretty great. But moving on from there, currently, Naruto's bleeding out, and he sees Zabuza as he dies. As Kakashi and everyone is about to lay the sword next to Zabuza, the executioner blade, Naruto remembers something. As his intelligence has gone off by seeing the truth, he realizes what he can do. He tells Kakashi to wait, and he brings the sword. Tell him to bring the sword over to him. Naruto's Kyuubi chakra is beginning to fade at this point as he's lost his anger, and now his arm is beginning to bleed again. Kakashi hurries over to the sword and asks what he needs. Immediately, he tells Kakashi that he needs one of his hands. Kakashi takes his left hand and puts it around Naruto so that Naruto can put his right hand against Kakashi's left. He tells Kakashi to push chakra through his hand so that way Naruto can use it. Kakashi does as he's told, and immediately Naruto lets a single tear fall down his face, and he says that he'll protect all of his friends from now on. Sakura, on the other hand, is horrified that Naruto just lost his arm by literally sacrificing it to a god. None of them knew this happened, but his arm just disappeared and faded away into dust in front of them, and then Sasuke was fine, so they don't know what went on. Eventually, when Kakashi sees what happened, he comments up to Naruto that the legendary warrior Tsunade actually has very similar powers to his own, which Naruto decides he'll think about later. Kazuna thanks the group and says that they'll name the bridge after Naruto in honor of him, and thank him for all the sacrifices he had made to save them and their village. Naruto waves as the bridge builder waves back, and they all walk back as the Great Naruto Bridge is being constructed. When Naruto and the gang head back, for a while they take a little rest after such an intense mission. After that mission, though, they begin walking the streets again, and Naruto says hello to Konohamaru. Konohamaru is hanging out with Naruto when Konohamaru accidentally bumps into Kankuro. Kankuro turns around and picks up the little kid and says, what's this brat doing to me? Naruto immediately looks up and says, what are you doing to him? Kankuro, on the other hand, asks what he's going to do about it if he does anything to this kid anyway. Naruto clasps his hand together and his other hand, which Naruto's wearing gloves, by the way. Naruto has a red coat on after he got back that he decided to wear, as he was going to keep his new arm a secret from everyone for now, as he didn't feel comfortable sharing how he had done human transmutation to save his friend. He didn't know if anyone knew what that was besides him now, but it was considered taboo among fellow alchemists as he had received from the truth. So Naruto's wearing a red cloak around him with a hood on it, as well as two black gloves over his hands. He clasps his hands together and says if he doesn't put him down, then he'll take one of his legs. Kankuro laughs at this and says, bet. So then he pushes his hand forward so fast that Kankuro can't react and touches his left leg, immediately phasing it off for a second. Kankuro, being shocked, drops Konohamaru and begins screaming in pain as blood starts leaking out. Naruto then immediately seals him back up using alchemy, as he can as long as it's fast enough to where the nerves don't die, he can reseal people and heal them, which he hadn't tried to that point, but he thought it was a good idea. Gaara sees this strange ability that this man is possessing and asks what his name is. Naruto looks at him and says, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, but you can call me the Metal Ninja. Gaara looks towards him, and his eyes open a little bit as he sees that Naruto is seeing many things, his eyes shadowed. Gaara tells him that his name is Gaara of the Sand. He then looks up towards where Sasuke is hiding in the tree and says for him to come down. Sasuke jumps down. He says that his stealth is excellent, even compared to some of the assassins who tried to kill him. He then asks Sasuke what his name is, and then Sasuke replies that his name is Sasuke Uchiha. Gaara tells him that they're both his rivals and that he'll kill both of them in the exams. The both of them, looking confused, see as the sand trio walk away. Naruto begins thinking about an idea of what he might be talking before he had received the truth. He can now transmutate without using transmutation circles, and is way faster to outspeed and blitz Sasuke. Sasuke, getting pushed down in the fight, falls to the ground. Naruto decided to take the challenge up next, pushes forward, and begins his strike against Lee. He pushes his hands to the ground using alchemy and shoots a wall of earth that blocks Lee's attack. Lee being shocked at how he can do this, even though he heard that you need to draw a circle with this chalk in a very specific pattern in order to use this ability, after he heard from Mike Guy about it, is surprised and actually caught off guard. Naruto uses the chance to pick up one of his kunai out of his belt, throw it, and then transmutate it in the air to make it thin and sharp like a senbon. This sped it up as well as making its mass lighter. Then he solidifies it back together as a normal kunai, which sped it up and gave it more power. This rockets toward Rock Lee, who barely has time to dodge underneath it, as it shaves a bit of his hair off of the top of his head. He's deciding if he should use the primary lotus because this Naruto is way too good. Then Guy Sensei comes leaping out of the air and punches Lee in the face. Lee falls over and tells him that he won't use that technique and that Guy tells him to save some of his cards. They head into the first exam for the Chunin exams, and the Chunin exams officially begin. Last time, Rock Lee came flying out and were attacking Sasuke and Naruto, and they got off with tie as Guy Sensei saved them. Now, Team 7 is walking into the first exam of the Chunin exams. When Naruto walks in, he immediately notices what's going on. He sees that everyone's sitting in desks, and then the first challenge begins to be expressed about what they're doing. He walks in with his headband over his bald, scarred face. He explains to them that they'll be taking a test with several questions, and they'll have to answer them. And if they're caught cheating, then they're out. Then they're failing the Chunin exams. Naruto immediately realizes, thinking analytically about this, that the entire test isn't about getting the answers right. It's about trying to gather information and then use that information to try and get the best score on the test you can. When Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura sit down, Naruto closes his eyes when the test begins. He closes his eyes for several minutes. Hinata thinking he's going to lose it, since she knows Naruto's not exactly the most studious person. But what Naruto's really doing is he's remembering. Naruto, using his transmutation circles, hollows out a path the underground beneath the trees so they can walk in a straight line towards it without any other teams seeing them. This way they can use Sasuke's Sharingan to look for other teams and then jump up right behind them and use a kind of headhunter jutsu to just steal their scroll and then run away. When they finally see a signal of chakra that Sasuke can barely see with his Sharingan before he has to turn it off, they hop up out of the ground and then they feel a presence. When they feel this presence, they realize that it's dark and envious. Naruto can feel this from a mile away and immediately tells everyone to get down as a giant snake comes crashing through the forest and envelops Naruto, completely devouring him. Naruto, realizing that he's inside of the snake, pushes his hand against the wall of the snake's belly, and then using his transmutation circle, he disintegrates the entire left side of the snake, ripping out of it as its blood just squirts out of its dead body, and it coils into a dead corpse onto the ground of the forest. He rushes back to where he remembers Sasuke and Sakura to be, and sees Sasuke engaging in battle with Orochimaru. He immediately knows what he has to do. as Sasuke has a cut on his hand from him doing his bloodlust to get out of Orochimaru's bloodlust attack. Naruto, rushing in to see what's going to help Sasuke, sees Sasuke is about to get hit by something. He rushes forward and then is about to touch Orochimaru. Orochimaru sees this and then his eyes open really wide as he remembers Tsunade. Immediately, Naruto disintegrates Orochimaru's right arm as he barely moved out of the way so his head wasn't touched, and Orochimaru's entire right arm is disintegrated to nothingness. Naruto, looking over to Orochimaru, says it'll be his head next time, and then starts running towards him. Orochimaru is wondering how this kid knows how to use alchemy, as only the Senju clan's elite forces and own Kekkei Genkai wielders could use it, as well as Hashirama Senju himself, the first Hokage, who had taught his own granddaughter how to do it. He wondered if this kid had been trained by Tsunade, or if he was a Senju clan member at all. He has to forget about that for now. As he keeps going, Orochimaru himself doesn't know exactly how alchemy works, but from his battles fighting with Tsunade, he understands the basics of it. He tries to dodge Naruto's hands and aims for his feet and his hands. Eventually, he pushes Naruto to the brink. Naruto, almost falling unconscious, calls upon the Kyuubi's chakra. The Kyuubi has its effect on Naruto, and Naruto's eyes become red and slit-like. Naruto opens his eyes and sees that Sasuke is using flame jutsu to try and push Orochimaru back. Orochimaru, just as he lands the curse seal on Sasuke, is then surprisingly hit directly in the stomach. Immediately, as soon as Naruto's hand connects with Orochimaru's stomach, Orochimaru's legs are completely ripped off of his body. His legs and body are separated, and Orochimaru appears to be dead as he falls to the ground unconscious. As soon as Naruto gets down there, however, he realizes that's a fake and a clone. The real Orochimaru runs away as he sees that if this kid gets any closer to him, he might actually get the real him this time. Naruto curses his luck and punches the ground in a rage. He then hits the tree with his hand and then squeezes. The entire tree begins shaking as it completely gets compressed down to a wooden block. He then punches the wooden block, which shatters it. He looks over. He sees Sasuke on the ground and runs over to him to see if he's okay. His eyes become normal again and blue. Sakura, sitting and scared with her legs shaking and scared, runs over to see if Sasuke is okay. They then pick up Sasuke and walk into the woods. Naruto, barely leaning on one leg, his eyes roll into the back of his head and he passes out. Sakura picks up her two teammates and walks into the woods, trying to protect them. When the Sound Ninja come by and everything happens in canon, Sasuke wakes up from the curse mark after Rock Lee and Sakura fought off the Sound Ninja, takes them out, and then later Naruto would wake up. Eventually, they'd make it through and see Kabuto. Kabuto would run into them and be wary of Naruto's skills, as he'd heard that Naruto is actually a pretty interesting and very unique ninja in his style of fighting. He then is wary about him to see if he could do anything to threaten him and his spy investigation. He stays close to Sasuke, however, to make sure he's safe for Orochimaru's body. Then, when they fight, they finally get to the tower, and Ruka feels pain and says, Naruto, ease up." And then when Naruto's complete ripping Orochimaru's seed out of Sasuke's neck, he then throws the piece of skin to the ground where it begins to burn as the curse mark tries to take over the skin so it can survive. As it fizzles out and dies, Sasuke breathes out a sigh of relief and then begins to peel the rock out of his neck. When he does so, blood begins to spurt out, and he quickly is surprised. He then pulls out cloth from his bag and then wraps it around his neck so he doesn't bleed. He then sighs relief and tells Naruto thanks for getting that weird thing off of him, and it was starting to hurt and use up his chakra. Naruto says no problem and that it's the least he could do after Sasuke fought that guy like that for everybody while he didn't do as well as he should have, and that he was holding back the team. Sasuke tells Naruto that he is actually amazing and that he shouldn't be down on himself. Naruto smiles and then and Akamaru to the wall, who are then knocked out. Naruto then brushes his hands off, puts his hands to the ground, and then re-puts it back to normal so they don't have to clean it up. He then waves to Iruka-sensei and says to Sasuke and Sakura good luck. He hops back up and Kiba is out of the exam before it even started. Hinata is blushing at this point and says that Naruto's so amazing. Then, next up, Sasuke versus the dude from the sound who can absorb chakra. Sasuke decimates this guy as he doesn't have to deal with any of the curse mark's abilities or effects on him. Kabuto at this point is freaking himself out as he realizes that Lord Orochimaru's curse mark isn't activated and it's not working on Sasuke. He then thinks about it and says, "Damn, that weird brat with his weird powers. It must have been him. What even is that? A Keke Genkai?" He then thinks about it and then realizes, oh my god. He wonders if this kid has somehow been trained by the great sannin, Princess Tsunade, known for her special type of chakra use and a different type of energy only related to the clan developed from Hashirama's clan. Then he shakes his head and says that's impossible. There's no way this kid could know such a person so important. He then focuses back on the exam as Sasuke finishes defeating the Sound Ninja. Sakura and Ino have their fight, nothing changes, useless stays useless. Gaara and Rock Lee have their fight, everything stays the same until the point where everyone gets out of the exam. Naruto best person to train you, kid, but I can still work with you on your chakra skills if you want any help with that. Naruto is kind of disappointed by this, but then says, sure, why not? Jiraiya then tells Naruto before they start their training that if he's seriously seeking more power in the alchemy field of things, there's only 2 people currently alive who could actually help him with that kind of training, and he personally knows both of them. Naruto's surprised and says that there's other people who can use alchemy like him. He asks Jiraiya who are they. Then Jiraiya explains to him that the people who can use it are both from the Leaf Village, as it was created by the first Hokage's younger brother, the second Hokage Tobirama. He explains that the great sannin Tsunade is known for using her art called alchemy, a type of healing utilizing alchemy to heal people much faster than chakra-based medical ninjutsu. He then says that, however, I think the person who you'd be more interested in training you would probably be the third Hokage himself. Naruto was surprised at this, says, wait, the third Hokage can use alchemy? Jiraiya nods his head and says that the third Hokage had mastered almost all sorts of arts of ninjutsu and ninja, as the god should Neji makes a dark smile and says that if you don't go all out, you're definitely gonna die. Naruto laughs a little bit and says that's funny. The fight begins. Naruto clasps his hands together and pushes them to the ground. The entire arena starts to shake as Earth shoots out of the ground towards Neji. Neji's eyes open wide as he begins losing his foothold, which is after all is his main point for when he's using the 360 palm rotation defense. He falls to the ground and then Naruto disappears. Naruto almost appears to teleport behind him and then kicks him up into the air. Then, Naruto pulls his left glove off, revealing an iron hand, the executioner blade, and it is to be exact is his hand, with a blade on it. He's de-sharpened the blade for this fight. He rushes forward and whacks his metal arm at full strength as he can into Neji. Neji, using his Byakugan, can see that this metal arm isn't alive, but it has chakra veins in it, meaning that Naruto can actually control it. Naruto thrusts his fist towards Neji, and it hurts a lot. Neji screams as his left arm's bone shatters, and the blood falls onto Naruto's arm. The arm begins to heal itself from any damage as it did before, and Naruto smiles at how impressive his arm is. He then puts his glove back on before any of the crowd can notice what actually just went on. Neji begins to breathe heavily at this point, and Naruto, knowing that this is his chance, rushes forward. He then, using his normal arm, reaches forward and grabs Neji's headband, disintegrating Neji's headband, revealing his bird cage behind it. Naruto then shows Neji and says, "Neji, I don't understand why you think destiny is so important, but I'm going to prove you wrong right here and now." He says, then grabs Naruto's hand and Naruto pulls him up. They look at each other and Naruto says that this was a good fight and that Neji should rethink about how life is. Neji smiles and says that he'll think about it. The match is over and Naruto recedes to the stands. And now they wait for the fight with Sasuke and Gaara. Last time, since it's been a while, Naruto defeated Neji and then helped Neji up to realize that destiny wasn't constraining him to his fate. Then, Naruto went to the stands and let Sasuke have his time of glory. Now, let's get back into the story. Sasuke walks into the stadium, barely on time as Gaara is getting impatient. Kakashi gives him a thumbs up and tells him to do his best. Sasuke, being cold, looks over his shoulder and makes a k sound. He then walks over into the stage and slides down the wall, just like he did in the original. Him and Gaara begin their fight. Sasuke, activating his Chidori, begins to make bird noises out of his hands. Then, as he begins to slide down the wall, he runs at a fast pace. As he begins speeding up as fast as he can down the wall, Gaara creates his sand shield. Then, Sasuke shoves his hand into the ball of sand and completely shatters it in half, hitting Gaara and causing him pain. This enrages Gaara, and Gaara begins to fight seriously against Sasuke. Sasuke, who's activated his Sharingan at this point, is seriously fighting Gaara as well. They're going blow for blow, Sasuke dodging all of his sand coffins so that way he doesn't die, and Gaara becoming more and more ludicrous with rage. As Gaara and Sasuke continue to fight, Naruto slowly notices something different in the air. As he continues to feel it, he notices the same time as Kakashi, as a Genjutsu begins to fall over the entire stadium. At this point, Sasuke and Gaara leave the stadium as Gaara has gone into his Shukaku form. As Shukaku Gaara runs out of the stadium, Sasuke follows him behind as fast as he can. Then, Naruto looks at Kakashi and Kakashi tells him to go to help Sasuke. Naruto, who isn't affected by this Genjutsu, as his intelligence is far higher in this timeline and he isn't affected by most things besides high-level Genjutsus like the Sharingan and, the infant Tsukuyomi and things like that. Naruto then rushes out of the stadium while Sakura continues to wake up the other Genin. Once Naruto leaps out of the stadium, he uses his alchemy and he pushes his hand on the ground. He creates a large cliff that he walks up of. Then once he gets to the top of the cliff, he jumps down. He continues to run after Sasuke, dodging from tree to tree. When the sand ninja who were waiting for him obviously pop out, he takes them out and dispatches them with ease, continues to follow Sasuke and Gaara. He gets there around the same time he does in the original, actually, and Sasuke and Gaara are still fighting. Sasuke's on the losing end, and Gaara is only getting stronger from Shukaku's chakra. Naruto leaps into the fray. As Naruto leaps into battle, he then tells Sasuke on his left. Sasuke dodges just as Gaara's about to hit him in the face with a hard punch that would have killed him. Naruto grabs Gaara's hand with his extended palm, and as soon as he does this, Gaara's eyes widen as his entire Shukaku arm just evaporates and disappears. He's scared at what just happened. His entire arm just got particleized, and then suddenly, it reforms in Naruto's hands, and he throws his arm back at Gaara. Gaara, in rage, reforms his sand arm and begins to fight wildly at Naruto. Naruto dodges from tree to tree, and with his metal arm, the executioner arm, he then uses alchemy to turn it back into a blade arm instead of his normal hand that he uses to normal life for eating and things. Naruto turns into a blade and then charges at Gaara. His hand, seeking for blood, the executioner's blade, which has been searching for it for so long, after being damaged in the fire of Neji, finally tastes it. He slashes Gaara's cheek and blood drips out the side of it. Gaara screams and looks at Naruto, his eyes widening as blood veins begin to pop in his forehead. Naruto turns around as his hand begins to heal and becomes stronger and more durable. After absorbing Gaara's blood, then the hand becomes stronger. At this point, his blade is sharper, stronger, and he looks at Gaara and tells him if he doesn't give up this needless violence, then he'll have to stab him again if he doesn't stop. Gaara at this point just gets more enraged and begins to grow bigger in his Shukaku form. Naruto pulls kunai out and then starts throwing him into the air. The kunai began evaporating midair and then appearing right back in Gaara's face, causing a much terrible time for Gaara to try and dodge these. Then, Naruto takes advantage of this and begins to fight harder with Gaara. Gaara and him get into a huge fight, as suddenly Gaara turns into his huge Shukaku form. Naruto, who begins to fight using higher scales of alchemy, grabs Shukaku's leg and then with both hands and begins to disintegrate it. He's disintegrating as fast as the sand is reabsorbing into the Shukaku form. When Sasuke gets back up and begins to help Naruto. Naruto and Sasuke, with electricity flowing off both of their hands, continues to fight and climb against the Shukaku monster. Naruto uses his alchemy and then summons the ground beneath him. He grabs Gaara's leg and sends the energy through his hands to the bottom of the ground. As he does this, he pulls up the energy, and with it, he pulls the ground. The ground shoots upwards into a spiral tower, and Naruto is standing on the very top. Gaara, enraged, hits his hand into the side of the tower, causing the stone monument to fall to the ground. Naruto at this point is flying through the air as he's jumping up. He jumped off to the top of it and is landing almost towards Gaara's, where his actual body is. Shukaku's pretty pissed off at this point and then hits Naruto. Sasuke sees this and Naruto's body goes flying. As he goes flying, Naruto blacks out and then he reawakens in a red energy. At this point, his lightning is turned into a red form as he uses alchemy. When he uses this, he morphs his chakra and uses alchemy combined with it to create a new attack. He clasps his hands together and then grabs the chakra that he has surrounding his body and forms it together into a small and spherical object. He then poises his hands forward towards the Gaara Shukaku form and says, "Be gone." All of the chakra he had surrounding in his body that he could master was then condensed into that small space as he used to create it. This attack that he's calling is called Chakra Black Hole. At this point, he actually has condensed the chakra to the point where it causes a miniature black hole. It starts to absorb all of Gaara and Shukaku when Sasuke tells Naruto that he'll get him. Naruto tells Sasuke to save Gaara, and Sasuke with Chidori slices Gaara out of the sand figure and jumps to the ground. The black hole finishes absorbing the rest of the Gaara leftovers of the Shukaku form. Naruto then takes his hands and puts them together and says, "Finish." He then activates his normal lightning as the red chakra is gone through alchemy, and the black hole disintegrates, deactivating. Naruto feels immensely drained, as he's never tried to pull a scale of the alchemy that high before. He begins to fall to the ground as gravity begins to take back over from his black hole's gravity. Sasuke isn't able to catch him in time, but luckily Sakura and the rest of the Genin arrive. They catch Naruto together in a big heap, and Naruto's passed out cold. He accidentally hit Sakura in the head with his metal arm on the way down as well. So now she has a big bump, and she punches Naruto in the head for it and tells him that she's gonna get him back for that. When they all head back to the village, Naruto's beginning to wake up a little bit. He's feeling drained and his chakra's low, but he's happy that he could help win. Once he gets back, they hear the fight of the third Hokage, as the Gaara fight went much faster in this timeline than the original. When Naruto sees the third Hokage in battle against Orochimaru, he can only say in his garbled, hard, raw voice, "No, old man," as he reaches his hand out before it falls back and he blacks out. Naruto wakes up a few days later in the hospital. At this point, Jiraiya is standing in his room watching over him, when suddenly he wakes up and asks what happened to the third Hokage and the rest of the village. Jiraiya explains what happened with the Konoha Crush plan and how Orochimaru escaped, and they now learn that the Kazekage was not behind it, but was actually murdered by him. The rest of the Sand Ninja who were free to go left and went back to the Sand Village. The third Hokage, however, was killed. When Naruto hears this, his eyes widen and he begins to cry. He thinks about all the things he's lost so far. His arm, the third Hokage, parents he's never known. And he decides that from here on out he's going to become the strongest that he can be. He then tells Jiraiya he has an idea. Jiraiya's eyes perk up and he asks Naruto what he's thinking. He tells him that Jiraiya had told him that the third Hokage was masterful in alchemy as well, correct? He then says, yeah. He then asks Jiraiya if it's possible if you would think that I could bring his soul back. Jiraiya thinks about this and then tells him he doesn't know. When Naruto hears this, he's sad. He then asks Jiraiya if there's anyone who could possibly know about something like that. He thinks about one person, Tsunade. When he hears about this, he remembers that Jiraiya had said that the Princess Tsunade, another student of the great third Hokage, the god of Shinobi, had also mastered alchemy, a form of alchemy that could be used to heal people, much more efficient than just normal alchemy. When Naruto hears about this, he asks if they should go find her, and then Jiraiya said that was actually why he was waiting for him. He said that they were going to go find the next Hokage, the fifth Hokage. At this point, Naruto gets up out of his bed as if nothing happened and then put his clothes on. He puts on his normal orange jumpsuit as well as his red cloak. The red cloak he has and his gloves are on now. He looks at Jiraiya with his long golden hair and tells Jiraiya he's ready to go. As he walks out of the Leaf Village, suddenly, and without them knowing, two Akatsuki members enter the village. The two Akatsuki members actually begin to attack Kakashi, and Kakashi's out cold. Jiraiya and Naruto have no idea about this. Sasuke does, however. Knowing that his brother Itachi was in the Leaf Village and had fought their sensei, Kakashi, he was worried about Naruto and begins to run after them. Jiraiya and Naruto at this point are in that same hotel room when Jiraiya goes out for some research. Suddenly a knock's on the door, and Naruto opens it, and stands Itachi Uchiha. In the last part, we introduced that Naruto had defeated Gaara, as well as is now looking for Tsunade with Jiraiya's help. And last time, we just got to the point where Naruto opened the door and found Itachi Uchiha and Kisame standing there, staring down at him. So let's get back right into the story. Naruto reaches over to the doorknob and twists it slightly. As he pulls the door open, a loud creak can be heard on the wood. And as he opens it, he stares up into the cold black and red eyes of Itachi Uchiha. As Itachi looks down, Naruto's eyes widen as Itachi tries to put him into the genjutsu. As Itachi tries to genjutsu Naruto, Itachi is shocked that nothing happens. Nothing works. The genjutsu fails on Naruto, and Naruto leaps backwards, not knowing what's going on. He then slams his hand into the ground, and then clasps his hands together and puts it into the ground, causing a wall of wood to shoot up from the ground, where he just formed it in front of them. Itachi is then, interrupted when Kisame slices through the wood with Samehara. Kisame rushes at Naruto, and then slams him with the sword, draining some of Naruto's chakra. Naruto goes flying back out of the building, glass shattering through the back windows as they fall into the street and continue the fight there. Naruto's going pace to pace with Kisame at this point. As Kisame swings Samihara at Naruto, Naruto then clasps his hands together and then puts his left hand out, using the destructive ability of alchemy on his sword. Samihara immediately is melted into nothing, and at that point, then we see that Kisame is horrified and falls on top of the particles. As Kisame tries to absorb Samihara as well as try and protect it so that he can continue to use its power, Itachi then jumps down out of the building as Naruto had just displayed that he has a lot too much strength for just one of them to handle. Naruto at this point is in the open and can use more things to draw alchemy circles on, and he uses some more of the alchemy knowledge that he learned from the truth and tries to make a wall of flame. He rushes to one side of the building and pulls chalk out of his side pocket. He immediately begins drawing the transmutation circle for a flame. He then pulls an ignition out and then ignites it because it's not raining that day. Suddenly, a wall of flame bursts out of the wall, and Itachi pulls Kisame out of the way. As they rush backwards, then Itachi uses his own fireball jutsu to cause a rush of air in between the firewall, and then jumps through after Naruto. Naruto and him battle for a while in taijutsu, which Itachi is completely outclassing Naruto in. Naruto is using alchemy just to avoid Itachi. He uses his alchemy to push the ground around, as well as make it harder for Itachi to move. Itachi is continuously trying to use genjutsu on Naruto, and none of them are working. Itachi is then determined if he should actually try using his Mangekyo Sharingan, and he does. Itachi activates Mangekyo Sharingan and then gets a look into Naruto's eyes. He tries to put him into the ultimate genjutsu that he had learned from Shisui, and nothing happens. Naruto, as soon as he does this, Itachi actually falls into something. Itachi wakes up in a white room, and he thinks he just put himself in his own genjutsu. However, when he wakes up, he sees something. It looks to be a child without eyes, and it's the truth. Itachi just saw the truth, and as Itachi sees the truth, the truth laughs at him and tells him that kind of stuff isn't going to work on this kid. He then flicks Itachi, and Itachi goes flying out of the room and back into the real world, still being confused about what the heck that genjutsu was. Itachi and Naruto continue fighting, and now that Itachi knows that genjutsu doesn't work at all on this kid, and he's quite amazed. This kid he thinks must be a very good genjutsu user himself if he's going to be able to block that, as well as extremely talented. However, by this point, Naruto's held off Itachi and Kisame enough for Jiraiya to come back and save him. Jiraiya comes bursting out of the hotel room, dives down, and activates his Sage Arts frog jutsu, the frog stomach jutsu. He surrounds him and Naruto in it, as well as defending him from Kisame and Itachi's wrath. At this point, Kisame is really pissed off as his sword has just been destroyed, and now he needs to find a way to fix it. So him and Itachi escape while he's enraged. Naruto, who has no idea what he just did, is thanking Jiraiya for saving him, and then tells him they should get moving before those guys come back again. At this point, Jiraiya tells him that he has to be more careful because of people like that called the Akatsuki who were trying to take him and him because he's a Jinchuriki. Naruto, who already knows that he has a fox demon inside of him, tells Jiraiya that he understands, and he'll look out for stuff like that. Jiraiya then continues with Naruto on their way as they leave that village and go on to find the same one where they ran into Tsunade. A few days before Jiraiya and Naruto had got there, Tsunade had been approached by Orochimaru to fix his arms after what the third Hokage had done to him. Tsunade had, of course, declined at first until he offered his deal for her back, and now she was contemplating it over a nice cold drink. Jiraiya and Naruto walk into the bar, and Naruto's red cloak waves behind him, and his black gloves are back on. As Naruto continues to walk with Jiraiya, then Jiraiya actually tells Naruto something. Naruto, when you were fighting against the guy, not Itachi Uchiha, the one from the Mist Village, Naruto replies that he understands, yeah. Jiraiya tells him, you probably could have used your arm. Naruto, confused, says, what do you mean? Jiraiya explains that the sword that Naruto had destroyed with his arm, by the way, the Executioner Blade, he had destroyed Samihara, one of the 7 demon blade swords of the mist. Naruto eyes wide as he realized he had used one of the swords itself to break the other sword. Naruto is then explained to by Jiraiya that if he had been found out to be having the Executioner Blade by Kisame, he would have ripped his arm off. Naruto goes a little pale at this and tells Jiraiya he'll be more careful. At that point, Naruto and Jiraiya walk over to Tsunade and sit down. Tsunade then asks them what they want, and Naruto explains, as well as Jiraiya, mostly Jiraiya, that for one, Jiraiya, they need a new Hokage for the 5th Hokage position. Tsunade laughs at this proposal at first, and then Naruto butts in and says, "Actually, I'm not here. I came with to find something else out." He then asks Tsunade, "Please," he says, "Lady Tsunade, would you please train me in the arts of alchemy?" Tsunade's eyes open, and she asks Jiraiya if this kid's serious. Jiraiya nods his head and tells Naruto to take them outside and show her what he knows. Naruto nods and takes Tsunade outside. Tsunade watches as Naruto places his hands on the ground and activates alchemy without a transmutation circle. Tsunade's eyes widen, and then she pulls Naruto away from Jiraiya's hearing. She then asks Naruto and asks him about it, if he tried to perform human transmutation. Naruto, not knowing what this is, as he has not learned that much about he hadn't learned the taboos of alchemy or anything other than the truth, as well as the actual how to do it. He didn't know it was bad to do human transmutation, and he explains to her what he did to save Sasuke and how he had basically died in the Land of Waves. Naruto then shows Tsunade his arm, and Tsunade is horrified. Tsunade then explains to him that she's also seen the truth and survived from it. That long ago, during the Great Ninja War, her boyfriend, or person who she had hoped to be her husband, had been killed in battle, and she tried using alchemy to save him. It didn't work, however, and instead it just brought this disgusting, terrible creature into the world that was nothing like him. Then Tsunade pulled back her left pant leg and showed her own metal leg. He then asks her if hers can do anything like this. He then turns his metal arm into the sword of the Executioner Blade tipped at the edge, and stabs something. Tsunade then is impressed with this and says it's actually a pretty cool idea. Tsunade tells him that she'll train him as long as he promises never to do human transmutation ever again. He agrees, and then Tsunade says that she'll train him as long as they get to have a fight first. Naruto gets ready, and they head back over to Jiraiya. Tsunade then challenges Naruto and says that if Naruto wins, then she'll train him, and if he wins, if she wins, then she doesn't have to come back. Then she'll train him still, but she doesn't have to be the Hokage. Naruto sees a good deal in this, and Jiraiya is actually pretty confident in Naruto. Naruto immediately blitzes forward and then has his hand next to Tsunade's face. Tsunade is scared by this point, as Naruto is far stronger in this timeline. Naruto then places his hand on the wall behind her, and then immediately the entire wall disintegrates into ash. At that point, she turns around and notices that Naruto had carved the flame symbol in the top of his hand. Naruto just used flame alchemy to melt a wall behind her. He then asks her if she's sure she wants to keep going. She smiles and says, of course, and then punches the ground, causing a large crater. Naruto and Tsunade get into a taijutsu bout, and then Naruto uses some more alchemy. Naruto fixes the ground, then he uses a shadow... Then he uses his alchemy to create another flame. Tsunade then, with her own alchemy, touches the flame and turns it back into ash. Then Naruto is then told to stop by Tsunade. Tsunade says that's enough and that it was a good fight. Naruto nods excitedly, and she says that she'll go back to the village. Once they get back to the village, Naruto, on the way back, asks her that if she could heal Sasuke as well as Kakashi. At this point, Orochimaru is watching them as Tsunade is leaving, and he's cursing his luck that Jiraiya and that other kid are there. Kabuto suggests that they actually go after them, and Orochimaru disagrees, saying that after watching that fight that Kabuto had told him about from spying on Lady Tsunade versus that kid, they probably have 3 sannin level fighters down there, and that they can't take them alone. Then he says that they'll just have to go to Plan B and get Sasuke Uchiha on their side. Kabuto agrees, and they head back to their base. Once Naruto gets back, Tsunade is then instated as the 5th Hokage, and immediately begins training with Naruto, showing him other ways he can use alchemy, and telling him that using gloves and other items, you can actually create, in alchemy and transmutation circles on things to work differently. For example, she says that if you put that flame alchemy transmutation circle on a glove and put it on, you can actually use just flame alchemy ignition without having to you continually reuse different ones or draw different ones. Naruto is then taught several different things about alchemy, as well as how, like, the basic rules of alchemy more so, and this helps Naruto understand alchemy far better. At this point, Sasuke is seeing how much Naruto has grown over the past few weeks, and it's beginning to cause him to feel some sadness as well as rage about thinking about his brother Itachi and how Naruto had fought him and how he was nothing compared to him. Then Sasuke challenges Naruto to a fight. Naruto agrees and they get into a fighting position. Naruto uses his destructive aspect of alchemy and destroys the ground beneath them. Sasuke dives into the air and uses a flame jutsu, which Naruto then combats with his own flame alchemy. The flames interact with each other and then burst themselves out after running out of oxygen. At this point, Naruto and Sasuke finally get into a serious fight, as Naruto has not learned the Rasengan in this timeline, but Sasuke still has the Chidori. Sasuke uses the Chidori, and Naruto uses his destructive alchemy. As his hand and his executioner blade hand and the Chidori come together, Kakashi doesn't make it in time, and Naruto uses his destructive alchemy. Immediately, the Chidori is completely fizzled out as Naruto just destroyed the atoms of the chakra that Sasuke had been bending into electricity. Sasuke falls to the ground and Naruto comes out victorious. This pisses Sasuke even more off and he walks off into the distance. Sakura tries to run after him, but Kakashi then stops her and asks what happened. Naruto goes walking off and thinks about everything he's learned from the past few weeks and how much the third Hokage would be proud of him if he'd known about it. He's about to go over to Sasuke when he decides not to. And at that point, 4 people from the Sound Village come to extract Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke had been abducted by the Sound 4, unknown to everyone else, pretty much. They had taken him and basically beaten him. And now Sasuke was going to meet them outside the village so that way they could take him to Lord Orochimaru. Naruto, over the past couple of weeks before that point, had already learned several different new types of alchemy and transmutation circles. You don't remember Lady Tsunade, her medical ninjutsu is actually based off of alchemy, as well as the third Hokage knew how to use alchemy as well. Naruto would be relaxing at home and just waiting for when the next mission to Team 7 would be occupied. Naruto feels uncomfort in his left arm, as if you don't remember, Naruto's arm had actually been ripped off and destroyed in the fight of Zabuza. That's when he had used the Executioner's Blade with its blood-reviving properties in order to turn into an arm using alchemy. Naruto, now with the Executioner arm, is much stronger than he had been normally before, as if he didn't have one. It's actually what allows him to continue using alchemy. Anyway, Naruto would eventually get up as he hears someone screaming. Sakura would be rushing around along with Shikamaru and the rest of the team, with Sakura looking rather depressed. Naruto walks out calmly as his red cloak flows behind him with the transmutation circle on the back of it for lightness, aka he takes gravity and uses it with a reverse force so that way his clothes are lighter. Naruto walks down to see what's going on and Shikamaru walks up to him. Naruto, Sasuke was abducted, or we believe he's been taken from the Leaf Village. What? Naruto has no idea what's going on, and he asks for further details. Sakura then explains to Naruto that Sasuke, she had been walking around last night waiting to see if he would be leaving, and she knew that there was something up with him ever since that fight that occurred earlier. Naruto remembers it. He then looks to Sakura and asks what happened. Sasuke then left, she says. Sasuke he left the village. Naruto grits his teeth and says, that fool, I didn't think he'd actually do it. I never thought he'd actually be that lustful for power. Shikamaru nods and says that the team's already set up. They were just waiting on him. Naruto apologizes rather quickly and says he's ready to go. Shikamaru's plan is a little different this time, as Naruto's abilities in this are much more unique, as the only people who can use alchemy in this world are around Kage level, because it's a very high level jutsu to learn and master. The only reason, in fact, which I have not explained previously, that Naruto is able to use alchemy to this degree is for 2 reasons. Because one, he's an Uzumaki, which in this timeline, the Uzumaki clan was very proficient in alchemy and sealing jutsu, so that was why. As well as the fact that Naruto had seen the truth, which no one else had pretty much seen. Like it's very rare to see the truth. So he has a very high knowledge of alchemy that most people do not have. Anyway, moving on from there. Naruto's specialized skills would be needed at the front, and so if anything would become like traps, Naruto is just to stick his hand out and instantly erase it, using his left hand glove, which he now has covered with the Destruction Transmutation Circle. Naruto, layered inside his cloak pockets, has different gloves with different transmutation circles that he's previously written in, using his own blood, so that way it would always stay on there. Naruto told the rest of the teams that he's ready to go, and they began their mission, with Neji at the back using his Byakugan to scan ahead for Naruto to delete any traps. As they're heading along, this is when they first run into the first member of the Sound Four. As soon as Jirobo tries to cover the entire team of Genin trying to save Sasuke, he tries to cover them with that earth technique he used before that Choji had deleted and taken out. Naruto touches the side of the stone dome and tells everyone to get ready. Immediately he powers up the chakra and through his hand begins to float through the rest of the boulder. Immediately he uses the Destruction Transmutation Circle and it all turns to dust. Everyone jumps out of the dust storm and rocks as they head towards Jirobo, with Choji telling everyone that he'll hold him out and that everyone else should keep moving forward. Everyone nods and Shikamaru holds back for a second, asking if Choji's sure. Choji shows him his food bullet pills and tells him that he's ready for anything. He nods. Choji and Jiro begin their battle just like in the original. Naruto and the rest of the team continue running through the forests. They're jumping from tree to tree. Now that they have one team member down, they need to be more careful. After a couple of minutes, they run to the next team member. This is where the battle begins, with Shikamaru trying to hold them back and telling them to move on. The next battle would be time for Neji to shine, as the third member of the Sound Four would begin to hold back Neji and the rest of the team. Naruto barely escapes as Neji gives him time, and Naruto asks if he's sure. Neji nods and tells him to keep moving forward and that he needs to rescue Sasuke. Unknown to Naruto, reinforcements are going to arrive soon, as Rock Lee and Gaara are on their way. As Naruto's running along, he finally meets up with the last member of the Sound Four, seemingly, Kimimaro. Kimimaro looks towards Naruto, as Naruto, wearing his red cloak, is flowing over his body and through the wind. Naruto's long golden hair is flowing across his face, as the whiskers across his cheeks are high upon his face now, his blue eyes shining brightly under the sunlit sky. Kimimaro, on the other hand, with his pale and dark appearance, looks towards Naruto. He then greets Naruto and says welcome, and that he won't allow him to take the vessel for Lord Orochimaru back. Naruto says they figured that much, and then asks if he's ready to fight. They begin battle. Naruto quickly pulls on the glove from his pocket onto his right hand, and blasts a large torrent of flame towards Kimimaro. Kimimaro uses his bone shell defense and defends himself from the flames. Using the smoke and fire as a distraction, Naruto quickly barrels underground using the Destruction Transmutation Circle. As he continues to try and make tunnels underground, suddenly a bone stabs him in the left arm. He hears a crink of metal as it shoves into his executioner's blade. Kimimaro now thinking that he has him down. Naruto rips himself off of the bone as he comes upward and then kicks Kimimaro. He quickly forms the executioner's blade and reforms it using alchemy, and then turns into a blade. Kimimaro then laughs and says that he's been attacked and currently wounded as well. This is a battle between two wounded men. Naruto laughs as he says that only one of them is going to be making it out of here, and it's going to be him. Naruto rushes forward and slices across Kimimaro's face, seemingly at faster speeds. Kimimaro wonders how he did this. When Naruto turns around, it shows that he had taken two transmutation circles while he was underground and rubbed them on his boots. Now his boots had less weight to them, as well as him barely having any friction. He actually disabled the friction between him and the ground, which made it as if though he was slipping on ice. He quickly peels these off as they turn to dust, and he then rushes over as he dives away from another bone shard. As Naruto's about to get back into the battle, the blood on top of his hand that has been hit by Kimimaro begins to absorb into the executioner's blade, reforming the wound around his arm and fixing it. Naruto thinks that's still a super useful ability as he dives out of the way of another bone shot. This is when Rock Lee and Gaara come out of nowhere. Rock Lee tells Naruto that he can handle this and he needs to move on and keep going. Naruto nods and tells him he thanks them, as he then pounds both hands together to create alchemy and uses transmutation to push himself into the air on a stone column. He jumps from stone column to stone column, avoiding the bones, as Rock Lee tells Kimimaro that he's the one he's going to fight. Gaara shortly comes after and helps finish off Kimimaro. After Naruto runs for a while longer, he finally makes it there, to the Valley of the End. Naruto walks forward, every step of his dark leather boots crunching on the stones. As he does so, he hears something. He hears laughing. The voice sounds familiar to him for some reason. Naruto looks up as he sees Sasuke. But there's no way. Sasuke's left eye is completely black and yellow, and it's as if his entire body's been mutilated by some sort of gene. Naruto has no idea what's going on, or what could be going on with his body. It's as if though some sort of curse mark had been impacted on him, but that's impossible, Naruto thinks. Unknown to him, Kimimaro and the rest had actually strengthened the curse mark and implanted it back into Sasuke, even stronger. Naruto sighs as he thinks that this is going to be way harder than he thought. Sasuke turns around, barely recognizing Naruto at all, as all you can see is blurriness. Naruto begins to walk forward, telling Sasuke he doesn't want to fight him, and that he wants him to come back to the Elite Village with him, and they can talk this out. Sasuke leaps from the head of Hashirama over to the head of Madara across the valley. Naruto walks forward as he's standing atop the head of the stone statue of Hashirama Senju. He looks across the valley as he and Sasuke are talking to each other. I don't need to go back to the Elite Village, Naruto. I need power, and the only person who can give me power is Orochimaru. Naruto then looks at him with a cold stone face and tells Sasuke that power isn't always worth it, as he thinks about what happened during the time that he had tried to save Sasuke back in the Land of Waves, and there is when he had met the truth, which had been terrifying as well as enlightening to him. Sasuke, you don't need power in order to defeat Itachi. And if you really did, we still have plenty of ways to get that back at the Leaf Village. Please rethink this. Sasuke then looks over to him and says it's too late now. He's already made his decision, and there's nothing that he can say of his silver tongue that will change his mind. You crafty little fox. Naruto then laughs as he says that's such an appropriate phase of words. As they both slide down the valley, Naruto beginning to feel a bit scornful. He then feels himself beginning to get lost in what Sasuke had said. He tells Sasuke that the reason he wants to save him is because Sasuke is his best friend. That's his truly only intention. And that they'd both been alone ever since they were younger. Naruto had been treated like dirt, like nothing less than human by the villagers. And Naruto had always felt alone. And when he saw that Sasuke had been the same after the Uchiha clan had been murdered, he thought that they were similar. Like they were the same person almost. He was too afraid to approach him though. Sasuke continues sliding down as they finally reach down to the water level. Oh yeah? Well, this makes it even better, because now when I break my bond with you, I'll become even stronger. Naruto grits his teeth as he crunches his hands, feeling the knuckles inside of his right fist beginning to grind together. The executioner's blade beginning to thirst for more blood, as Naruto looks to Sasuke. Sasuke, we don't have to do this. There's no turning back now, Naruto. This has to happen, one way or another, even if you don't like it. But Sasuke, there's gotta be... Sasuke goes flying towards Naruto as his body comes skidding across the water using chakra control to bounce atop it. Naruto quickly slams his hand into the water as the water level begins to lower across the entire river. As the water levels begin to lower, Sasuke's falling down slower. Naruto then swipes his hand across the water as a burst and an absolute cloud of flame comes flying across the water. Sasuke then says he already knows how to defeat that move, as he then sticks his arms into the water and using his now abnormal strength, pulls the water up as it splashes into the air. Naruto tries to hide it, but immediately water droplets fall on top of the glove, ruining the transmutation circle. Well, I guess Sasuke knows my weakness now. Damn it, I'll have to use raw transmutation in order to beat him. Naruto puts his gloves back away, as his hands now with scars across them are shown. Sasuke, are you ready for this? He then begins to pull his other hand, his executioner's blade arm together, forming it into a hard metal surface. Naruto begins to run towards Sasuke, his arms streaking behind him as his red cloak flows off him. He then quickly grabs his cloak and throws it off as it goes flying towards the one side of the valley. As Naruto is running towards Sasuke, he begins to scream, "Ah!" He then punches Sasuke in the jaw directly with his iron hand. As his fist collides into Sasuke's jaw, his bones crack as he hears Sasuke go flying backward, along with several bones splintering. Sasuke coughs up blood as he continues to try and get back up. Chidori! Sasuke summons the Chidori in his hand as he quickly uses lightning release as well as transmuting his chakra. He begins to run towards Naruto with the Chidori, and Naruto begins to use alchemy. Naruto grabs a kunai from his side pocket and carves a transmutation circle into his hand as blood begins to form on the surface of his skin that he's cutting. He begins to run towards Sasuke and said this is how determined he is to bring him back. He then begins to pull his hand back as lightning begins to charge across it. Sasuke's eyes are open in a flash as he wonders if Naruto can actually use the Chidori. Alchemy, lightning style transmutation. Naruto quickly blasts a burst of lightning towards Sasuke. Sasuke holds the Chidori up as it takes in the lightning, making it larger. Damn. Naruto thinks this as he quickly wipes the blood away from the transmutation circle he carved, as his skin naturally begins to heal back up from his Uzumaki blood. Naruto jumps back a few paces as Sasuke comes rushing towards him, trying to hit him with hard blows. As the heavy blows of Sasuke whip past Naruto's face, wind begins to brush the sides of his cheek. Naruto takes a heavy blow to the stomach as he bursts spit all across Sasuke. Sasuke says that he shouldn't touch him with his filth, as he then kicks Naruto down the river, Naruto skidding like a hopscotch rock. As Naruto is falling down into the water, he then thinks of what he saw during the truth, and then suddenly he feels something animalistic.
Naruto, take some of my chakra. I know you're angry. You're mad that Sasuke's betrayed you like this. You're mad that you're losing this fight.
No! You're wrong! Damn fox, my seal must have loosened. Damn it! Naruto wakes up and suddenly orange chakra is completely surrounding his body, with sparks of alchemy covering him as well. Sasuke, I'm bringing you back to the village no matter what. Even if I have to break every single bone in your body, I can fix it later. Naruto! Sasuke screams as he runs towards Naruto. Sasuke! Naruto then shouts back as he charges power into his right hand. Unknown to Naruto, Naruto combined with the fox's chakra is now creating a sort of bijou bomb. He's using the alchemy to create the bijou bomb in his right hand and create and condense it even smaller than it already is, causing the chakra to build up in power. Sasuke and Naruto run towards each other as Naruto then screams that he's going to defeat him. Naruto and Sasuke scream at each other as they run towards each other. I will win! Suddenly, the large bijou, or vermilion Rasengan, you could say, has been condensed even harder as it completely is smashed into the Chidori, causing a large explosion. The explosion begins to envelop both Naruto and Sasuke, as suddenly the lights begin to fade out, as nothing can be heard except emptiness. Before a large explosion rocks the entire final valley. We finished off with the final attack between Naruto, now with the Kyuubi's chakra enhancing his alchemy, and the bijou bomb that he has currently created using alchemy and compressing it, versus Sasuke's curse mark enhanced Chidori. Now, let's get right into the parts. As you remember last time, the ball of energy had completely surrounded the two, as the power had taken over all of them, as the final valley had a large explosion take place, causing the valley's walls to shake and crumble, as rocks began to fall down the sides. Suddenly we see two bodies falling down as they land close to the river. Naruto's body lands into the water itself as he sinks beneath it and begins to float on stream. Sasuke, however, is badly wounded. Unlike in the original, Naruto's power is far superior than it was originally. Naruto's chakra control and alchemy skills are much more unwildly and much harder to counter because Sasuke doesn't have any of his own, due to its hard case of mastering it. Orochimaru would then send Kabuto out to go check to see where Sasuke is after around a while. After around a few hours, Sasuke would be retrieved by Kabuto. Naruto continued to float on stream before his body completely ran off as it hit towards the edge of a rock. His executioner's blade arm caught onto the rock as the blade itself pulled him on top of it, with his arm now sitting there and him gasping for air as he was drowning. Kakashi finally makes it towards the valley as he sees a humongous crater which had completely shattered the sides of the valley, causing both Madara, Uchiha, as well as Hashirama Senju's statues' legs to be almost completely ruined, as they were basically tilting. Sasuke quickly used the Mud Wall Jutsu to keep the statues up as he looked at this destruction that those two had caused. He eventually sees the red cloak that Naruto had thrown out earlier on the side of the valley and rushes over to go check on it. No blood. Kakashi picks up the red cloak as he drapes it around himself, looking to go and find where Naruto is. He continues running downstream, hoping that Naruto has survived, or that he somehow is on his way back to the village. This is when he sees Naruto leaning against a stone wall, barely alive as he's breathing shallow, hollow breaths. Kakashi rushes over as fast as he can and begins doing CPR on Naruto as he pushes and compresses on his chest. Naruto vomits up a puddle of water as water spews out of his mouth and he coughs for a breath of air. Naruto's eyes then roll into the back of his head as he falls backwards. Kakashi catches him and then drapes his red coat over him as he picks him up and carries him on his shoulder as he heads back to the Leaf Village. Now he wonders if Sasuke must have gone away, thinking that Naruto must have failed somehow. We now see Kabuto carrying Sasuke, and Sasuke is also breathing heavily, as water is in his lungs, as well as him having several wounds all over his body. Several large bruises cross all over Sasuke's body, as well as a large scar across the left side of his cheek, which was still bleeding. Naruto apparently had swiped at Sasuke with his executioner's blade at least one time during that fight that Sasuke had missed. Sasuke wakes up blurrily as he sees himself in Orochimaru's base. This is when Orochimaru introduces himself to Sasuke formally, and they begin their training for Sasuke to acquire more power. Naruto would wake up several days later. As he wakes up, he feels the cool breeze and the nice softness of a warm bed. When he looks up, he sees Jiraiya, his master and sensei, standing there, along with his other sensei, Tsunade. Tsunade and Jiraiya are both extremely worried about Naruto, as Tsunade would be looking to see if he was alright. Naruto says hi to both of them as he smiles, a weak smile, still feeling rather weak after his large attack he had used in the final valley. "What were you doing?" Jiraiya then asks Naruto. "You almost got yourself killed in that fight." Naruto says he's sorry, but it was the only way. He then looks up and asks if they got Sasuke. Tsunade and Jiraiya look to each other and ask what does he mean. Naruto then says that in that final clash between them, when they both used their most powerful attacks, before I blanked out, I'm positive that me and Sasuke are both hit by each other's attacks. That means that he must have been taken out as well, right? Is Sasuke okay? Did we bring him back? Naruto says this with hope, thinking that he might have been able to save Sasuke. Jiraiya then looks to Naruto and then shakes his head, telling him that Sasuke was gone when they got there. Apparently he'd been retrieved, probably, by one of Orochimaru's minions. Naruto is shocked that he failed, and he looks down, and then he punches himself, thinking that he failed. Tsunade tells him to stop and that he's still recovering, and then Naruto tells her to leave him alone. Naruto looks up to the both of them and says he's not going to give up on Sasuke, and that he's going to save Sasuke for sure next time. Jiraiya and Tsunade try to explain to him about how Sasuke is like Orochimaru, and how he had abandoned the Leaf Village of his own free volition, and that if there was no choice that he had, then he probably wouldn't want to come back anyway. And sometimes you can't just force your way through things to get what you want. Naruto is being a bit irrational now, and says that he'll just have to get stronger then so he can do that. This is when Jiraiya would tell Naruto about the plan. In fact, the plan this time would be that Naruto would be heading off with Tsunade instead of Jiraiya to begin working on his alchemy more, and Jiraiya would take over as temporary Hokage for the next 3 years. Jiraiya says this with a somewhat sad tone, as Naruto has no idea why, but unknown to Naruto, Jiraiya is actually Naruto's godfather. However, Jiraiya doesn't have the same alchemist skills that Naruto had, and Tsunade does, so it would be much more beneficial for him to defeat the Akatsuki if he could perfect and refine his techniques. Naruto looks at Tsunade and asks if this is true. Tsunade nods and says that they'll be heading out the next day. Jiraiya says that he'll be staying here as a temporary Hokage for just a while, and that he's only as acting Hokage, so there won't be a stone face of him in the wall ever anytime soon. He laughs. He then says that Tsunade has better to maintain his spy network while she's gone off from the village. She sighs and says that she knows. Tsunade then tells Jiraiya that she's leaving her attendant behind, so that way Jiraiya can actually have some assistance if he needs any advice. Jiraiya nods and says thanks, as he then confirms that he'll do his best to keep the village intact while they're gone. Sakura walks into the room and asks what's going on. She sees Jiraiya and Tsunade, two of the legendary sannin, talking with Naruto. Naruto and I were just having a short discussion, Tsunade says as she turns to Sakura. Sakura nods as she leaves. Tsunade then turns back to Naruto. Naruto, before we leave, there's some things I need to tell you before we head off to begin our training for the next 3 years. Naruto nods and asks what it is. Tsunade then tells Naruto that his major weakness that he has is that he can only use alchemy as his main attack and defense. Naruto nods, not seeing the problem. Well, the problem, Naruto, is what you don't seem to understand is that alchemy is above an S rank level jutsu. It's actually a technique that's basically impossible to learn. In fact, I don't even know how you learned it at your age. It took me over 20 years to... She then stops thinking about how her appearance and says, it didn't take me that long at all, actually, to learn alchemy. She then says as she looks away. Naruto not really understanding what's going on. Anyway, my point still stands, Naruto. When we leave, there's some things I need to teach you about using your chakra in other ways. Just because you can use your techniques with alchemy doesn't mean that's the only way you can win. If you had more jutsu that you could use besides your alchemy, you could actually have stood a chance at defeating Sasuke through wearing him down. Naruto's eyes widen as he thinks that he's been neglecting what he should have been learning this whole time. Tsunade tells him that he doesn't have to worry about it, as they'll be working on that. Just Naruto started on the opposite end. You're supposed to learn the basic stuff before you move on to that kind of thing. She then tells Jiraiya that she'll do her best with this kid, and Jiraiya nods, telling her while they're out of the room to keep him safe. Tsunade asks him if he doubts her with her eyebrow up, and Jiraiya laughs, saying he never would. Tsunade and Naruto begin to leave the village together, with Tsunade taking with all of her bags for if they go to a gambling city once in a while. Jiraiya nods as he waves away back to the two of them as they leave. Naruto heads off with Tsunade as they begin their alchemy training. 3 years pass. Naruto is sitting behind a tree when he's beginning to conjure chakra in his right hand. He begins to form the medical chakra blade that Tsunade taught him to use, and the chakra scalpel, and rushes at Tsunade from behind, trying to outspeed her. Naruto has his shirt and his other jacket off so that way he doesn't damage them in the fight. Tsunade turns around and counters by slamming into his own chakra scalp with her own, them slicing against each other like two knives. Naruto then jumps back as he begins to activate the Rasengan, charging chakra into his hand and forming it, using a bit of alchemy to compress it even easier. Naruto forms the Rasengan and rushes towards Tsunade, trying to slam it into her. As he's about to slam the Rasengan at Tsunade, Tsunade slices up with the chakra blade, opening the Rasengan, letting the chakra pour out, causing an explosion. Naruto goes spinning backwards as he uses alchemy on the ground, causing blocks of stone to go flying towards Tsunade. Tsunade then forms her hands together and pushes her hands out, stopping the stones with her own alchemy. Naruto is sweating heavily, as he's gotten quite a bit bulkier since the last few years ago. Naruto's been doing a lot of strength training as well as chakra training with Tsunade, and he's actually mastered medical ninjutsu. Tsunade had actually worked on showing Naruto the basics of the Rasengan, as she herself can't do it, but she knows how to do it. Naruto then would practice this on his own every day, and eventually would get it. That's how he had learned how to use the Rasengan properly. Jiraiya would be back at the village still, acting as Hokage, and there was about 2 months left before they were scheduled to return to the village. Naruto had gotten far stronger than he had been 3 years ago, and had mastered many more skills. Naruto's medical ninjutsu is actually very useful for him, as now he can heal wounds during battles, as well as use his alchemy and other attacks to work multitasking-wise. Naruto had a lot of skills in different varieties now. Naruto picks his fingers up as he quickly uses a clone jutsu, as the clone goes running towards Tsunade. Tsunade slices this in half with the chakra scalpel as she deactivates it, and rushes towards Naruto, punching her fist into the ground, using her physical strength. Naruto charges chakra into his fist and then punches his own part of the ground, causing stone to go rising up and clash into Tsunade's. Tsunade then claps her hands together as she tells Naruto it's time to take a break. Naruto sighs as he falls back on his bed and rubs the sweat off his forehead. Phew! Granny Tsunade, that was a pretty tough one today. You were really hyped up today, I could feel it. Tsunade cracks her neck as she looks to Naruto and says that they're heading to the next gambling city today. Naruto sighs as he says not again, and that she had blown all her money on that last time. She then tightens her fist and asks, what did he say? Naruto sweats and says he's sorry and that he was kidding. She then nods and tells Naruto to grab her bags. Naruto puts his black and orange jumpsuit back on, as he then pulls over his red cloak that he had gained from several years ago. Naruto's arm, his executioner's blade, has been altered now. To suit his larger body, he's actually changed it and added more metals to it. Naruto had used blood to increase the size of the blade, so that way he could transmute into a larger version of his arm. Once that took place, Tsunade thought that was a very clever way of using alchemy to actually give yourself function. Naruto explains the uses of how he actually created this again, telling her about how he used his chakra paths with alchemy and transferred them so that way there was space in the metal arm. That way he could actually put chakra into it and feel things like senses. Naruto would then show her the transmutation to turn it into a blade and to turn it back into his normal arm. Tsunade would then say it's time to get going, as Naruto grabs Tsunade's bags and they begin to head towards the next city. Back at the Leaf Village, we see Jiraiya filling out Hokage paperwork, bored out of his mind and yawning, hoping that Tsunade and Naruto can come back soon, so that way he can go and leave on doing his spy networking again. Naruto had been joining Tsunade while the times they'd been maintaining the network that Jiraiya had already laid the groundwork for. Tsunade had been acting as Jiraiya's replacement for that time, while Naruto worked on training himself. Naruto and Tsunade, after the next 2 months, would eventually come back, with Tsunade being relieved that it's over and she can get back to business of being Hokage. Naruto is walking back carrying all of their bags, looking like a pack mule pretty much, as Tsunade is casually walking along. As Naruto and them reach towards the gate of the Leaf Village, Tsunade knocks on the door and then they open it. They see the Lady Hokage and they welcome her back to the village, as Lady Tsunade walks along inside of Naruto. When they see Naruto, they are so surprised when they see Naruto's long golden hair tied back into a braid along with his new clothing that he's gained in color scheme. Naruto walks in and waves to them as they wave back. As Naruto puts all of the bags down in front of the Hokage's office, he breathes a sigh of relief until Tsunade is going to check out what the village looks like. She tells him go ahead as Naruto jumps off to the side. As Naruto climbs to the very top of the actual smokestack and looks upon the rest of the Leaf Village, Naruto takes in a deep breath and then sighs out. It's good to be home.
Naruto would breathe in, taking a deep sigh of relief, now finally having returned home to the Leaf Village upon his 2.5 years of training, otherwise known as the Naruto Part 1 to Part 2 time skip. Last time, at least back when I first made the series, now almost 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago, it's been a long time, Naruto had lost to Sasuke, but not really, with Naruto and Sasuke both being KO'd and Kabuto having to come get Sasuke. The only reason that Naruto feels like he lost is because when he woke up, Sasuke was gone and had made it to Orochimaru's, meaning he failed. But in reality, they had tied, even with Sasuke having his 3 Tomoe Sharingan and his curse mark at its maximum stage. Naruto still was keeping up the pace with him. With his automail style arm made out of the Executioner's Blade and his alchemy techniques, he was a force to be reckoned with. But since I'm short on time and I have to get a lot of these done so you guys have videos while I'm gone on vacation for a couple of weeks, we're gonna start speed blitzing this, okay? So, after Naruto's climb up the smokestack, Tsunade would tell him to come down, saying that they are going to be tested. With Tsunade returning to the Hokage's office, and now it's time for Naruto's test with Kakashi. Sakura would really not be playing a big part here. With Jiraiya being Hokage, her and Jiraiya aren't really a good mix for training, so this Sakura is going to be much weaker than she was in the original Shippuden, which I guess isn't saying much, but in this version of events, Naruto was the one to be trained by Tsunade and learn medical ninjutsu. So Sakura never really gets super strong, and Tsunade, who has the ability to make her, which is a mediocre ninja, into someone who can actually compete during the 4th Great Shinobi War in the original, isn't there. So Sakura is still fodder, unfortunately. So basically this is Kakashi and versus Naruto. Naruto would immediately use medical ninjutsu, forming a chakra scalpel and slicing through the trees, making a hand seal to create a shadow clone who would chase after Kakashi. This shadow clone would form a Rasengan, destroying even more of the foliage, which would impress Kakashi. Naruto had learned to hone and master the Rasengan by himself without Master Jiraiya. That's something. This version of Naruto is giving Kakashi a tough time. With his medical ninjutsu abilities and his new gained skills with alchemy, he would not be making this easy for Kakashi. Slamming his hands together, he would grab Kakashi's mud wall, turning it to dust, as Kakashi is now forced against a cliffside. With this, Naruto would then use alchemy, raising walls all across Kakashi, and even grabbing his hands and locking them into the stone, so he can't use jutsu. Kakashi would try and make a one-handed jutsu before Naruto flicks his fingers, making finger locks on all of his hands as well, 10 stone finger locks. And like this, Kakashi only has one option, trying to open the first gate, but it's too late. Naruto would transfigure his hand, transforming it into a blade mode, with the Executioner's Blade at the edge on top of his arm like what Edward does in FullMetalAlchemist. With this, he would shove the blade against Kakashi's neck as he takes the bells, stripping them from Kakashi's side, having successfully taken both bells for him and Sakura. Kakashi would say he gives in, saying that Tsunade's turned this kid into a beast, with his strength, speed, stamina, and everything just being off the charts. He was just plain and simply superior to Kakashi. Even with Kakashi using his Sharingan, there was nothing he could do to keep up with Naruto's alchemy, or his newly specialized medical ninjutsu. Passing the test, Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura would eventually be sent off by Tsunade, who's taking over for Jiraiya, with Jiraiya now leaving the village to go off into the Rain Village, hearing about this guy called the Angel and God. Apparently, these two entities have turned the Rain Village into a powerhouse that is currently growing, and so Jiraiya would leave, telling Tsunade of his plans as he leaves for his mission. It's at this point that Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura would also be sent out, with Naruto thinking about his ties with Sasuke when he'll see him again. Tsunade would wish her student the best of luck as Naruto gives her a thumbs up, pulling his long golden hair back into a ponytail as he points a finger at his head. "I've got this, you know I do." On his head would be a small seal. A blue mark would be on his forehead, this being a concentration of chakra, the Byakugo seal that Tsunade had taught Naruto. He would hide the seal, turning it back to the color of his skin using transfiguration, as he would then chase after Kakashi and Sakura, the three leaving to go to the Sand Village, hearing about the attack on the Kazekage, Gaara being the guy who Naruto had befriended back during the Chunin exams, as you guys all know. After 3 days of struggling through the wind, sand, and Naruto having to use his alchemy in order to protect them and get water and a number of other things, Kakashi, Sakura, and Naruto would arrive inside of the Sand Village, having been attacked by the two most destructive Akatsuki members of Sasori and Deidara, who have arguably the most amount of range for their attacks aside from pain. They would eventually meet up with the chief officers, elders of this village, eventually finding Kankura had been poisoned, and Naruto would use his healing abilities, showing off his student status of Tsunade. This would be a pretty big deal for Granny Chiho, who would scoff, saying, "So you're her student, huh? That's the only person who could be able to heal this wound, this poison." Naruto would be using alchemy, removing the poison from Kankura's blood, and using chakra to make that bubble like Sakura would have done in the original, eventually completely clearing Kankuro and making him conscious again. Chiho would be impressed seeing that a kid of this age could use alchemy, which in the medical ninjutsu world and in ninjutsu in general is just fairly impressive. It's, let's say if wood style is like the master of ninjutsu Kekkei, alchemy is like the mastery of medical ninjutsu. It is a staple of someone being a pro, okay? Anyhow, Kankura would tell them where they had gone with Gaara, and the team would head off towards the Akatsuki's cave, breaking in on their entrance with Naruto using his super enhanced chakra fist that he had learned from Tsunade with his super strength to completely shatter the boulder as he turns it to dust with alchemy covering his fist, the entire boulder being moved and crushed into rubble. Chiho would have come with. This time we get an interesting situation where it would be Naruto and Chiho fighting against Sasori, with the poison being required for his medical ninjutsu to counter, and it would be Kakashi and Sakura going after Deidara. Naruto makes a really good counter for Sasori. If he even touches any of Sasori's puppets, he can just completely disable them, warping them into unusable figures with alchemy. And so even when he accesses his real form and uses his 100 puppets technique, he'd be healing the poison as well as completely warping the wooden puppets, making them completely useless for Sasori. With Chiho's help, both Naruto and Chiho would defeat Sasori, and he really doesn't need her help, but she'd be basically playing a support role to him. Using his chakra scalpel, he'd be cutting through. All the chakra threads would be cut through by Naruto, holding the blade against Sasori's neck and killing him, taking out the information from the canister, and getting the information from him in their little bet like Sakura had about Kanabi Bridge, that being where he will be meeting his informant from Orochimaru, and this would be a piece of key information for Naruto, so he would remember it. Sakura would be heavily wounded from Deidara, with explosions having damaged her a lot, and Naruto would be really worried, using his healing ninjutsu and fixing her up. Kakashi would be exhausted and on the brink, and both of them would have to be carried by Naruto. Without a Three Tails Naruto going wild on Deidara, even with Kakashi's Kamui, there is no way that Sakura and Kakashi at this point in time can defeat Deidara. And so Deidara escapes, making himself Sasuke's prey in the future. You guys know what happens. Chiho dies, sacrificing herself after seeing Naruto's bravery and joy and youth, sacrificing the old era for the new and bringing Gaara back to life even with the One Tails having been completely sucked from him.
Haha, the Kasi sucked his one tail, that's funny.
Shut up, you dirty-minded brats. Oh my god. The only one sucking on that one tail is Naruto. But I'm just playing, you know how it is. Going on, Gaara would thank the Leaf Ninja, and this would be making even stronger ties as he handshakes Naruto, seeing how much stronger he's gotten over the last couple of years, with Naruto laughing, saying he's going to be the Hokage by the next time they meet. They return to the village. This is when Kakashi is put onto bed rest. Even Sakura would be put into sleep. Having both Sakura and Kakashi being taken under Tsunade's care and resting, Tsunade would ask Naruto what happened and he'd explain everything. This is when a new team is going to be created, one of Sai, Yamato, and Naruto. This Naruto, because of his training with Tsunade as well as seeing the truth when he was a child, is much less of a dumbass, to be frank. So when Sai is making all these ball jokes and acting all blank and immature, they wouldn't even get to Naruto, which would disappoint Sai, liking to see the reactions on people's faces. He would ask Naruto instead why he has hair like a girl, and Naruto would simply reply that he didn't feel like getting it cut, and that he liked his look. I suppose that's fair enough. Yeah, alright, well then. Enough chatting, boys, let's get going. If I find Orochimaru, I'm gonna make him eat dirt, Naruto would think, as the three would leave on their mission, with him being down a team member, but Tsunade trusting in her student's abilities. And so after some traveling, they'd come up with a plan, with this point being the transformation jutsu for Yamato using wood style and the like, to disguise himself as Sasori meeting at the bridge, and the informant coming, this of course being Kabuto, who was under the influence of Sasori at the time. But, alas, he would attempt to betray him, slicing at him, saying to show his real form, when Yamato would pop out. This is when things go south and they're forced to fight, Orochimaru appearing that they've been ambushed, and Naruto accessing at free will, accessing himself into this two-tail state while maintaining control. Now we see inside of the seal where we see Kurama. But why is the Nine Tails all locked up? Inside of the cell, we would see tons of metal had been brought in and was being used weighing the Nine Tails down. Yeah, Naruto used alchemy inside of his own seal, using the material of the seal itself to create more metal bars like the ones that were holding the seal, to tie Kurama down and force him into a submission position. The fox is pretty pissed off. Since this Naruto had strengthened the seal, he now has even more control over it himself, without activating the trap lock thing that Minato had in case it goes berserk, right? Even without a transmutation circle, Naruto would move faster than lightning, crashing a kick into Orochimaru and sending him sprawling through the forest. His eyes would be red, his teeth elongated, but as he turns back to Yamato, who's about to try and seal him, he'd hold his hand up saying that he's completely in control right now, saying that if he gets too out of hand, then he can stop him. Naruto would wipe his face, turning back as he then says in a calm voice, "I will kill Orochimaru. The rest of you take care of this garbage." As in reference to Kabuto. Kabuto would grit his teeth asking who he's calling garbage as he tries to create his medical scalpel and slice at Naruto. Naruto would simply turn, grabbing his hand with the scalpel with his executioner arm. As he crushes Kabuto's wrist, Kabuto would scream out in pain, falling back to the bridge as Naruto turns his attention to the real threat here, the sannin. Wow, that punch really does get you far now. Especially that Tsunade must have trained you. That's the only way a punch from your two-tailed state would be able to push me so far. I guess she taught you her monstrous strength then, huh? Naruto would say nothing. Where's Sasuke? I have some unfinished business with him. As in breaking him and taking him back to the village. Even with how strong you've become, there's no way you can beat Sasuke. He's in a completely different league on his own. Naruto would smirk at this. Wanna bet? Before Orochimaru can react, he'd move forward, gut-punching him, as he then sprawls across the ground, leaving a crater. Naruto would then create a Rasengan, covering it with alchemy as he creates the Vermilion Rasengan, compressing it into a small ball, creating the compressed Vermilion Rasengan. He'd scream at the top of his lungs, yelling, as he slams this into Orochimaru's back. Orochimaru would use a snake substitution jutsu, moving his body out of this one like a shell, and completely watching as his old body is destroyed and turned into dust. Orochimaru would realize that Naruto's eyes hadn't left eye contact with his the entire time. With this enhanced state, he was far too capable to not be able to track Orochimaru's speed. It's at this point that Naruto would grit his teeth, completely done with this snake guy, as he creates a Rasengan, compressing it between his hands, lightning covering them using alchemy. I'll show it to you, Orochimaru. I'll show you the depths of alchemy. The Rasengan between his hands would turn a deep red, as Naruto would be transfiguring his own blood using a transmutation and combining it into his executioner's arm, and energy filling it as he crushes the Rasengan in his fist, opening his palm. Orochimaru would summon the 3 Rashomon gates as the blast from the compressed Rasengan blasted and turned into an energy beam using alchemy would shred through them, even stronger than a Bijou Dama. Orochimaru's right arm would be blown off, with him falling to the ground, having tanked the attack. Orochimaru would scream out in pain as blood spurts out. Kabuto would throw a smoke bomb to distract Yamato and Sai, escaping with Orochimaru's almost dead corpse, and fleeing back to the hideout. Orochimaru would feel disgraced, having seen such a powerful attack from Tsunade's student. What's the world coming to? Sai still has his mission to track down and kill Sasuke, like that was ever gonna happen. And Yamato would be helping Naruto calm down the Nine Tails. As Naruto falls over, his rage enveloping him as he's almost opening into the Three-Tail state, he would yell out for Yamato to do it, with Kurama roaring inside, laughing at Naruto, thinking he can really control his power. It's at this point that Yamato would use his seal, resealing the Nine Tails and making Naruto breathe heavily. Naruto, are you okay? I'm just fine. Damn it! I let him get away. Sai would fly on one of his ink birds, chasing after Kabuto and Orochimaru back to their hideout, with the false, obvious letter from Danzo that he was there to co-work with them. This is when he sneaks into Sasuke's chambers and is trying to kill him. Now we get the iconic scene of Naruto running down the hallway as he comes to the open light, looking up to Sasuke, who's standing on the ridge, looking down upon Naruto and Sakura, except Sakura's not here, so it's Yamato and Naruto, alongside Sai. This time, however, when Sasuke and Naruto are both there and Sasuke tries to speed blitz doing that cool arm thing, Naruto would catch his arm with his executioner's blade, grabbing it and asking him why he's acting so buddy-buddy. Sasuke would feel irked by this, having thought that he was much stronger than Naruto, and this would hurt his ego as he teleports back up to the top, Naruto watching his every move. As Naruto slams his hands together as lightning trickles down his arms, Sasuke would hold his hand up ready to activate Kirin to wipe this dirt away. Orochimaru would be too damaged to say anything, so Sasuke would actually try and activate Kirin. This is when he tries to drop the thunderclap, and when he's looking down at Naruto, not even having his Sharingan activated, Naruto would just smirk, holding up his executioner's arm as he holds it to the sky saying, "Come on, bring it." This balls of steel move by Naruto, when that jutsu would definitely kill Sai and Yamato at least, is pretty impressive, and Sasuke would stop laughing, saying he's not going to waste his ultimate power on scum. Only one man is worthy of that jutsu. His older brother, Itachi. It's at this point that Naruto would once again offer, asking if Sasuke wants to come back to the Leaf Village. You don't have to stay here, you know. He doesn't own you. Sasuke would turn, ignoring Team 7, as he laughs, flying off, saying that they had already replaced him anyway, right? With Sai now having the camera switch to him. Naruto would grit his teeth, leaping up as he's out of the ground, running after Sasuke and Orochimaru before they teleport, screaming that that's not true. As Sasuke would turn, his eyes now with his Sharingan activated, meeting Naruto's. We do not get that cool scene of him accessing the Nine Tails seal and suppressing it because Naruto isn't using Nine Tails. But hey, you know what? Aside from that, it's a pretty cool scene. Having failed to retrieve Sasuke, they would head back to the village. This is when we get the switch into the Hidan arc, and we have Naruto training, now realizing, even when he had bluffed back there, that there was really nothing he could have done against that type of attack, having sensed how strong the thing Sasuke was about to do was, having basically felt a crackle in the air. Naruto had trained Kakashi and Yamato, creating the Rasen Shuriken. This Rasen Shuriken, though, would be interesting, because Naruto is able to freely transform its chakra nature using alchemy. So it's much easier for him to use a wind style, fire style, lightning style, any style of nature energy transformation, because alchemy makes nature transformations a cinch. Especially because Naruto has seen the truth, so he doesn't have to make a transmutation circle for it to work. Naruto comes in and saves the day, killing Kakuzu with the Rasen Shuriken, and all is well. That is, until it's now time for the double arcs of the Itachi killing arc and the pain arc. remember how Jiraiya went off on that mission to hunt down the Akatsuki, taking the information from Tsunade's time as his spy network ringleader? Well, because Naruto didn't spend the 2 years with him training, his code isn't made for Naruto, it's made for Tsunade. So when Jiraiya dies, it's not going to feel as big or heavy, and Naruto isn't necessarily as sad as he was in the original, with him more so being there as support for Tsunade, who takes the real emotional brunt in this arc. Jiraiya would have used Tsunade's chest measurements to create a number cracked code for them to crack, which would be fairly easy for Tsunade to figure out. Once she did, with the help from the team in the Leaf Village, she would for one be pissed at Jiraiya for revealing her bust size to everyone in the village, but second, she'd be sad at Jiraiya's demise. Realizing the message as the real one is not among them, she would send Naruto to the land of Shukotsu Forest. This is where Naruto will get a seal on his other hand, allowing him to do slug summoning. However, instead of training here and learning Slug Sage Mode, I still will have him being sent to Mount Miyaboku after. This summoning is mostly for Tsunade's sake in case she happens to die during a battle when they come to the Leaf, so Naruto can still summon Katsuya to heal everyone. Basically, it's insurance, so Naruto has one summoning on both hands now. He would be then sent to Mount Miyaboku, meeting the frogs up with them. After all, he had been contracted to Gamabunta back during the Chunin exams, but he hasn't really relied on it much since, and as such, the training would begin, with Naruto learning a lot about Jiraiya Boy and his training while he was there. Eventually, Pain would attack. This is when Tsunade would be doing her best to defend the village using Katsuya, and also Katsuya, a little one, being on Naruto's shoulder in Mount Miyaboku, alerting him of the arrival of Pain. Naruto would still have mastered Sage Mode using Shadow Clones like the original, and now is far stronger. He is so strong, I would say he's about as powerful right now as KCM1 Naruto during the war arc, so he is definitely capable. When he appears at the battlefield, he would easily save Tsunade, saying that I won't let you touch Master Tsunade, instead of calling her Granny. This is like a pretty big sign of respect, as he kicks the single path of pain, moving it across the battlefield at a rapid speed and completely turning it to dust. Naruto's strength of Sage Mode plus his enhanced chakra fists from medical ninjutsu is just so strong, it's not even fair. Naruto would use alchemy, creating a seal of stone over the path so as no one can retrieve it, fighting off the other paths just using his medical ninjutsu skills and alchemy. With Sage Mode, he'd be able to sense where all of them are, using alchemy simultaneously as he fights, sending blocks of stone crashing into fists at the paths, and the Diva path being forced to use an almighty push. Naruto at this point would use alchemy, creating a wall behind him, stopping the almighty push from, desecrating him. And at this point, Naruto would start getting serious, using that Rasengan blast with alchemy, the compressed Rasen blast, and combining it with a Rasen Shuriken, annihilating the rest of the paths of pain, breaking them down and atomizing them. And since they're dead and not alive, he can also use alchemy to just completely shut them down. With Pain, he would finally start getting serious, the Diva path really putting up a great fight here. Except we don't ever get a Hinata scene, because instead, when Naruto's getting pushed to the back foot, Sakura would come in, trying to block one of the attacks and getting stabbed through the chest by one of Pain's chakra rods. This is the trigger key. Instead of Hinata being the one to save Naruto, it's Sakura. With Sakura having felt completely useless and realizing that she hasn't even been close to catching up to Naruto or Sasuke. The last almost 3 years having been worthless. It's like she hadn't even gotten any stronger at all. So with her finally doing something to save Naruto for once, we don't get that Naruto scream scene either, by the way, just saying. The Sakura is pretty different because of the events recently. As such, Sakura goes down and Naruto enters into the Four Tails state, ripping through the Four Tails and entering Five Tails as he's just destroying the Diva path. There's nothing he can do. Using the Tailed Beast Bomb on screen for the first time, the Diva path is destroyed. Naruto would, when he's entering and we're almost about to take the seal off, would be stopped by Minato, resealing it, and finally meeting his father and hearing about the story of what happened all those years ago. Naruto reappears back in his regular form, even with the Chibaku Tensei having been used on him, and would defeat Pain. He would grab the chakra to feel what material it's out of using alchemy on it, and with Sage Mode combined with alchemy, he would sense the location of Nagato. He'd find Nagato and Konan having their little talk no jutsu discussion. We get a Rinne rebirth, Nagato is taken with Konan back to the Rain Village, and all's well. Naruto would be considered the hero of the Leaf Village, and as such, this would be when Danzo would take his position after Tsunade is taking the time to rest, as the temporary Hokage going to the 5 Kage Summit, which has been organized after Sasuke had killed Deidara, gone and formed the Taka, and is now attacking Killer Bee. The 5 Kage Summit happens. Upon hearing what the topic of the summit is, with Sasuke attacking another Jinchuriki, and thinking he'll be a pushover since he fought one before and it was at a higher tail count, but that obviously didn't happen because he almost got murked like 3 times. But anyway, Naruto would beg Kakashi and Yamato to let him go, and as such, Yamato, Kakashi, and Naruto would leave the village and go to the Kage Summit. We do get that scene with Sakura trying to go and stop Naruto, but the scene is a bit different this time, with instead of her telling Naruto she loves him, telling him he doesn't have to do this anymore, saying that the promise that they had made years ago is null and void now. She would tell Naruto that it's okay to stick to his word as long as he's not putting himself in harm's way. When I asked you to bring Sasuke to me, I wasn't trying to lock you down to a chain that would drag you down with him. This would infuriate Naruto about as much as it had when she lied to his face like that in the original, and he tells her off saying that she has no right to tell him what he can and can't do, basically saying it's up to him if he wants to save Sasuke or not. With that, Naruto would get a visit from Obito post-summit, with him talking to Naruto about, taking the Nine Tails and other things that will be foreshadowing for their character arcs later. Naruto would escape using his shadow clone, and Yamato was trying to take him back. This is when we get to the end of the Kage Summit arc where Sasuke is just escaping after killing Danzo, and Naruto leaps into the ravine and saves Sakura, who had gone after Sasuke herself and tried to, do something, but she couldn't do anything, and Sasuke was about to kill her when Naruto leaps in, using alchemy as he tries to take Sasuke's hand from him. Sasuke would sense his Sharingan, dodging out of the way, as Naruto would deactivate his alchemy, simply shredding Sakura's cloak, the white and red one she was wearing, and turning it to bits. Naruto would dive on the water, now using his chakra control so he doesn't sink, grabbing Sakura and Kakashi appearing next to Naruto. Kakashi would say that it will be his responsibility to take down his former student, telling Naruto to leave. Naruto would narrow his eyes, telling Kakashi he's nowhere near strong enough to take down Sasuke. As he throws Sakura to Kakashi, Naruto would then hold out his blade arm, telling Sasuke that he could kill him anytime he wishes, telling him the truth about what happened all those years ago in the Land of Waves. For those of you who don't remember, Naruto sacrificed his entire left arm, which is why he has an Executioner's Blade automail arm, to bring Sasuke back from the brink of death, sacrificing it to the truth. This gave him the ability to use transmutation without using circles, and it also revealed to him the same truth that Edward Elric would have found in FullMetalAlchemist. This is a threat from Naruto. Basically, Naruto is saying that I can return my arm to me and take your life at the moment I touch you, and I'm choosing not to. Essentially, Naruto could defeat Sasuke and kill him whenever he wants. All he needs to do is touch Sasuke once. Just touch him and he can activate and reverse the transmutation, bringing Sasuke to the brink of death from all the damage from years ago and restoring his own arm. Another difference here is that because Suigetsu, who's part of Sasuke's team, doesn't have the Executioner Blade, he would tell Sasuke that if he runs into that Naruto guy to try and take his arm from him. Sasuke would laugh, thinking how that's going to be possible now, with Naruto basically threatening him like this. At this point, Sasuke won't even dare try to use a Chidori or anything because he knows Naruto's serious about killing both of them. Sasuke would back off, leaving, as Obito would appear, taking Sasuke as he's about to collapse from his exhaustion against Danzo, taking him back to the Uchiha lair, and, telling him the truth about Itachi and giving him Itachi's eyes and the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Post-5 Kage Summit would be interesting, with the 4th Great Shinobi War having been declared by Obito already. The 5 great nations would begin moving out as the allied shinobi forces, preparing for the White Zetsu army, Madara's appearance, and just everything in general. Naruto is once again forced by Tsunade, unfortunately against her will, by the Raikage and the other Kage agreeing that he will be on the Turtle Island with Killer Bee, keeping the Jinchuriki away from the battlefield so that they can't accomplish their goal of getting the Ten Tails revived. And through this is when Killer Bee and Naruto do the Waterfall of Truth and the exercise, and Naruto looks deep within himself. This time, at the Waterfall of Truth, we actually see the truth, and the truth and Naruto have a discussion. When I say the truth, I'm referring to the white entity that is the god of the FullMetalAlchemist world, pretty much. He would talk to Naruto asking if that trade was worth it back then. Naruto would smile, saying that ever since, he's had nothing but a good life compared to his childhood, saying that he wouldn't trade anything for it.
Trade anything, huh? What apt phrasing.
The truth would let Naruto go, with Naruto passing the trial from Killer Bee's perspective, and now they can continue on to fighting the Nine Tails. Naruto already locked Nine Tails in that metal cage using transmutation inside the seal, and now all he had to do was go inside the seal with Killer Bee's help, unlock his restraints, and fight Nine Tails. By opening the seal using the key that Jiraiya had left for him, he would grab it, clicking it as the metals would click inside the seal. Opening the doors, Kurama would lunge out trying to kill this brat. But it wouldn't work. Naruto, using the Executioner's Blade, would slice at Kurama's body, making the blade grow from absorbing his chakra.
Damn brat.
Naruto would create a massive Rasen Shuriken, compressing it down to several thousand miniature ones using alchemy, and throwing them at Kurama, shredding him up and tanking him down. This is when the big chakra tug-of-war happens, and we have Naruto and Kushina together. The chains appear. Naruto gets to talk with his mom, with her asking what happened to his arm, and him laughing, saying it's a long story. We get the wholesome scene of Naruto hugging Kushina after realizing she's not, the Nine Tails' true form. And, that was so stupid. But anyway, Naruto gains KCM1 and flees, leaving Iruka-sensei and getting his note of him becoming a fine young shinobi, causing tears to appear in Naruto's eyes as he wipes his face, and then with Killer Bee at his side would break through the barrier. This time they wouldn't have to use massive Bijudama, as Naruto with just his alchemy could shatter the barrier with his left hand, just completely destroying and cutting through with his Executioner Blade, Killer Bee carrying Shark Skin, or Samehada. So basically both Jinchuriki are wielders of the 7 swords from the mist, which is a kinda neat detail if you think about it. Once they arrive at the battlefield, things are slightly different since Naruto doesn't really rely on shadow clones like that in this timeline, with alchemy being the main thing he learned as a child and harnessed. So using alchemy, he would create golems going to all the fields, adding thousands of troops using his chakra to control them, and would make these huge stone golems he's controlling, almost like homunculus. Naruto himself would arrive at the battlefield, with him arriving at the scene in the forest with Tobi and the other Jinchuriki, and the big battle between the 8 Nine Tails and the rest of the Bijou happening. We get the moment of him cracking the mask, but this time he would slash it with his blade, the Executioner Blade, cutting the mask up as we see the mask finally break, revealing the face of Obito. The Kakashi moment would happen with us seeing the events of Kakashi Gaiden, which is the events with Obito, Kakashi, Rin, and Minato. This gives us the emotional appeal to actually care about who Obito is and make us not just think he was a ripoff Madara, which is, I guess, true. Madara would have decimated the entire Shinobi Alliance by Gaara's side of things, with no Naruto clone there except just some golems, which he would take out with his wood style. And as such, the meteors would kill a lot of people, and essentially Madara would still appear like a badass. Events would escalate until we get Jubito, which is where this stops. The moment that Kamui is unusable, Naruto is able to use alchemy to enter into the side of Obito, using transmutation to separate the two aspects of Ten Tails and Obito, pulling out the Ten Tails and withdrawing the Ten Tails inside of itself, with him deciding this is how he's going to destroy the Ten Tails, freeing everyone. We get this really emotional scene just like in FullMetalAlchemist, with Naruto sacrificing his alchemy wall like Edward did in order to return what had been lost. In this case, to completely destroy the Ten Tails, freeing the world of the threat of Kaguya and of Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi plan. The laws of alchemy state that you cannot obtain something from nothing, and vice versa. Nothing can be created nor destroyed, only transformed. And so, in exchange for his alchemy wall, Naruto would gain all of the Ten Tails chakra converted into his chakra pool, making him have the highest chakra pool in history, with his own current reserves being added to the entire strength of the Ten Tails, which has been converted back into energy, just pure chakra. With this, he has sacrificed the power of alchemy, just as Edward himself did for his brother and him years ago, his arm returning to him as part of the deal, and the sword of the Executioner's Blade returning itself back to its original form. Naruto would grab the blade hoisting over his shoulder as he'd feel this strange power coming over him. Madara and Obito would be furious, trying to stop him, wondering what the hell happened to the Ten Tails, but it's too late. With Naruto's basically infinite, nigh infinite chakra reserves, even without alchemy, he would easily be able to use enough power with his Rasengan and medical ninjutsu to take down both of them. With Kurama giving him help and accessing KCM2, this Naruto is about as strong chakra-wise as an Otsutsuki in the higher tiers. It's basically as if he had devoured a chakra fruit, in exchange for the ability to use alchemy. And just like that, the fight would be over with Madara and Obito being slayed by Naruto. Naruto taking down the both of them, stating his desire to become the Hokage. This bringing us to Sasuke vs. Naruto Part 2. Again, this is pretty much the same fight as the original, except this time we have a just Sage mode plus KCM2 Naruto. There is no Hagoromo or Sage 6 Pass mode because neither of them enter into almost the brink of death. And as such, there's no ass pulls or anyone to may say it's a plot hole, but anyway. Basically, Sasuke would tell Naruto that he will become the Hokage and erase the past of the Leaf Village, and the two have their fight at the final valley. Again, this is basically Naruto trying to convince Sasuke to come back to him, with him having infinitely more power than Sasuke, even if Sasuke had the other tailed beasts, since this Naruto has not turned the chakra back into tailed beasts like Hagoromo did. We get that really emotional moment where Sasuke and Naruto are now having their final Chidori and Rasengan, this time just being EMS Sasuke versus KCM2 Naruto, with Naruto having all these people surrounding him, spinning his Rasengan for him, as almost a glimpse of alchemy would appear on his hand, the Executioner's Blade shining on his back, as he smashes his Rasengan into Sasuke's, his arm not breaking but Sasuke's being destroyed. Sasuke's arm being broken this time, Naruto would be the one to have his arm live, with Sasuke basically switching places with him. Sasuke would sigh in disbelief, stating that he lost, and Naruto won the day. The two would not have to do the rat seal or anything because the infinite Tsukuyomi, doesn't happen, so there was no infinite Tsukuyomi. And they head back to the village with Sasuke not having committed any war crimes, aside from the ones he did before the war started. Tsunade would lock him up with them talking about what happened to Naruto. Naruto saying that he had to sacrifice his alchemy ability in order to save the day for everyone, but instead he gained this tremendous amount of power in exchange. Naruto would not return the tailed beast back into life because, as he himself had heard from Kurama, the tailed beasts had mostly been suffering under the rule of shinobi, and if they were released back to the world anyway, they were just going to be recaptured and used as weapons again. So just the 8 and 9 tails are still in this world, with the rest of the Kaguya's original chakra being transverted into Naruto's chakra pool, making him even more of an Otsutsuki than he would appear to be on the original timeline. And that brings us to an end, with Naruto taking over Tsunade's responsibilities as the lead medical ninja of Konoha for a few years, while Tsunade would finish up her terms as Hokage, training Naruto to succeed her in becoming the 6th Hokage. And that pretty much brings us to the end of What If Naruto Shippuden. If you guys want a continuation to Boruto for What If Naruto was an Alchemist, where Boruto has the power of alchemy, let me know. I think I might do that once the Boruto manga continues a little. It's a pretty interesting concept, and I really liked alchemy in Naruto. I just think it's a really cool idea to make medical ninjutsu feel stronger and cooler, I guess. But once again, thank you all for coming this far, and thank you for watching the finale and the full story to my What If Naruto Was an Alchemist, or Full Metal Naruto. I really wanted to do the sacrificing alchemy thing at the end because it kind of imitates and mimics the ending of FullMetalAlchemist. And it's very fitting for this Naruto, and as in character, it's perfect. It was the perfect ending for FMA, and it's now the perfect ending for FMM. FMN? Full Metal Naruto? Yeah, so anyway, once again, thank you all so much. Hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts, and subscribe to this channel for more stories from me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Done.